We should be live by now. Let me make sure we're live. Yeah, we're live. What's up, everyone? This is Game Player episode 32, and we have a special guest. Introduce yourself, Alex.
Sure, the name's Alex, and I'm a developer for about 11 years now. I worked at Ubisoft for about 10, close to 10, and now currently I'm at Arcane Lyon here in France.
Gotcha. What you been playing?
A lot of Destiny. That's not a good answer, just always Destiny, but just a bunch of things. Like, there's always something to play.
Okay. Also, we have one member from Vitamin D podcast. Pharaoh, introduce yourself and what you been playing.
Hey, it's your boy Pharaoh Bizarre. I have just been playing a lot of Madden lately, trying to crack the top 50. So that's really the main thing I've been playing recently. I'm like currently at 54, so trying to get these last four spots and get inside the top 50.
Okay, and we're still waiting on Jubei to come through, and maybe Dante, but I doubt that. Maybe he might be asleep or doing a show. Let's go to our main people. Weeb, how are you? What you been playing?
I'm good. I've been playing Eden Chronicle Rising still. Saw you already played it. I'm
Yep.
still trying to finish it, but I think I'm pretty close to the end. So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It's a pretty simple game basically, but it's kind of refreshing to have a very straightforward, I guess, action RPG-ish title. I know you complained about having no spoken dialogues, but I actually kind of like it. They're pretty well written. So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far.
Okay, yeah. As for me, I've been playing. So I finished. Oh, the Rec is here. Welcome. What you been playing, the Rec?
How
And
you
how are
doing?
you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Doing good. And I've been playing Far Cry 6 lately. And so, trying to platinum that.
Are you having fun with it?
Oh, yeah. I have a lot of fun with it. Busting some heads all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. As for me, I'm playing. I platinumed Eden Chronicle. I'm super excited for part two, especially with how this was in almost like a hack and slash side scroller. While the next one is a full blown JRPG with turn-based system. I'm dying to test that out. And apparently it's going to have over 100 playable characters.
Mm-hmm.
So can't wait for that one.
I love Suikoden too, so I'm excited. I backed it.
You
Don't want
played
to know
it?
what I paid. Well, I played the new thing, right? The pre-game. Yeah, it's really fun.
I highly recommend it for everyone to play it. It's just on Game Pass if you want to play it, or it's just $15 on PlayStation Store. And it's a super cute, fun game. My only gripe with it is the lack of voice acting, but the music killed it.
Like always.
We're gonna go straight to it. The reason why I'm having Alex here is because we were having a conversation a day ago about Assassin's Creed, and no, I think a few days ago about Assassin's Creed and why people hate it. And your assumption, I don't think if it's your assumption or because maybe you have had a lot of interaction with other people and they said so, that it's all because of the stealth that the new Assassin's Creed are hated. Can you explain it?
Stealth.
Can you hear me still?
Yeah,
Okay.
we hear you.
Okay, I had to change the mic because there's something wrong. I just noticed.
Okay,
The quality's not as good, but still.
gotcha. Innate.
Um,
Go ahead.
so I was gonna say like the conversation I had with somebody else. I don't remember. That was in a different like on Twitter or on a space there where we were talking about this. We were talking about franchises that basically move on from the player base, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how they more or less like some games have to evolve and some series have to evolve to change over time, of course, but like sometimes series change and a core audience that they had before is not happy about it and they fall off the series. But this change actually was for the better for them because they, gain many more new fans, right? And that's far more important. As long as sales are positive, it's always more important, right? And that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, like I had said that the problem is like the big major issues people have is they say, well, it's not a stealth game anymore. It's all you can just fight and battle whoever you want, and you can just do everything. And you can stealth still, of course, but like it's not just a stealth game. It's just a RPG beat 'em up kind of like Witcher style game and stuff like that. And then there were also people who are like, well, now it's a lot less about of strictly the Templar and the assassins fighting throughout history kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah, I get that idea, but the thing is, like, there were one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. There were 9 games in total. Yeah, for sure, 9 games in total where they were that Assassin's Creed style game where you go back and forth between historical moments or history and the modern modern world with Desmond, of course, or with other characters. And that was kind of like staples to the Assassin's Creed series. And then a heavy assassination and hiding, using, uh, you know, smoke bombs and what do you call those hand crossbows and stuff like that to shoot from afar and stuff like that. That's cool. That's what the series was. But then it changed, and now it's definitely not that at all. And I think, and my thing when we were in that space was I said that to them, they feel like that was a warranted change, and warranted because the past 3 Assassin's Creeds have reviewed better than all the other Assassin's Creeds except for 2 and Brotherhood and that one. Like those were the pinnacle of the series, but they have reviewed better than all the other ones basically, and overall they have sold far better. Like the past 3 games have outsold the other 9 altogether. It's wild how good the sales are now. But yeah,
Gotcha. Who wanna start? I'm gonna go with you, Pharaoh. Do you hate or love the new Assassin's Creed, and why? Okay, then I'm gonna go with you, Weeb.
Well, I don't think I've ever played the new ones yet. I kind of got fatigue after. Well, funny enough, after Unity, though I played Syndicate first and then Unity. Pardon me.
My
And
bad, I didn't know the mic was muted.
sorry, man, I just swallowed the bug, I guess. It's definitely not COVID. I already had that. So yeah, I kind of got fatigued after that because it sort of it felt kind of the same, but a little less less developed in the sense that side missions were less interesting, and I got just overwhelmed by the map that Yeah, with all the activities and things like that. So at that point, I sort of like, okay, look, I'm kind of done with the series. So I haven't really tried the new ones. So yeah, I can't really speak about them, but I can certainly understand that from a fan base perspective, if you change the core gameplay, people will obviously object to that. But yeah, I can also understand the other side, what Alex has explained. Yeah, if this series, because of that, attracts more players, increases their sales, and gets critical acclaim. Yeah, I mean, sucks to suck, I guess. I mean, if
Yeah,
you're if
right.
you want,
Like that's the bad part. It's like it just sucks to have something leave you behind.
yeah, I mean, yeah, sometimes you gotta accept. I mean, to be honest, I can kind of understand it because yes, sure, if you're a fan of something, you will keep on playing that franchise, no matter how many parts they release and how even though it essentially is the uh, same game over and over again, but a different setting with some changes, etc. But if you like that, I mean, there are people who buy FIFA every year, even though it's the same game, but just get the latest team compositions. You know, I mean, people like sort of consistency. People like to get what they're used to. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'd say for a franchise like it's like a long running franchise like Assassin's Creed that at some point was like a yearly franchise. I'd say it's good that they took some time off. I don't know how far you were involved with the new ones, but I mean I'd say that's always better to sort of take some time off and revitalize the franchise. I say, I mean, I haven't played it, but I say overall, in general, I think it's better if a franchise evolves and moves on and tries to do something new because I can imagine it's also for developers maybe interesting to do something different for a change and not always do the same thing. And then
You know that
yeah,
the
go ahead.
changes that they made probably actually for your story, it actually would make sense the changes that they made because maybe it brings you back, right? Like you said, you kind of got burned out, or you're just like, it's kind of the same trip. I've always been down. So maybe hopefully those changes they made could bring someone like you back in because it's like, oh, now it's more just an action adventure game, Like,
hmm Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'm never gonna go back to it, but yeah, like for me, it's not really a problem that they changed it because again, like I said, I was burned out, and like you said, it's a way to maybe bring some people back because in the end, that's always a risk. You can keep on going with something as long as it sells, but before you know it, reality catches up and people grow tired of it and drop it, and then you miss your window to innovate because there's a lot of franchises in the past that were were hot shit at the time that they released, and at some point people forgot about them because the next big thing came along, and yeah, brand recognition does sort of last only for for a short while until it gets forgotten out of collective memory, and maybe you can bring it back years later using nostalgia. But yeah, I mean that also is quite risky because you never know if that's going to pay off. So yeah, I can completely understand the decision, understand the fans, but again, I'm not really bothered by it at the moment.
Okay. Um, Here is my gripe with it. First of all, I have no issue with a company doing going a different direction. We've seen it with God of War, and I enjoyed that. I love that. We've seen it with Tomb Raider, how they revived the series. Absolutely no issue with it. And we've seen it with other franchises like the Final Fantasy VII Remake and stuff like that. My biggest issue is, well, first of all, my opinion, but mostly if you played the game should have ended story-wise after Revelation. but clearly Ubisoft didn't want to finish the franchise, so they kept making it. Am I right or wrong, Alex, on that front?
Right, got an established IP, keep going. But like, I don't know. Assassin's Creed Black Flag was the one that had it started man, I can't remember her name because I'm bad with names. But like the
That's the
character that they
pirate one.
yeah, that's the pirate one. I think that was the first one that introduced this character who she you play as her when you're in the modern world. She is which is really stupid and kind of corny, but you're a developer at Ubisoft. I think it was Montreal. You start out at. I can't remember. And you walk into the office. They introduce. They say hello. They get you to work, and it's like an alternate, universe. So it's like at Ubisoft, we use the Animus to go back in time to make video games using people's memories. And I'm like, oh boy, this is a little bit self-referentially bullshit, but it started that story after Desmond was dead. Spoiler alert. Basically, they've had that same character since 4, and that was almost 10 years ago now. And like in Assassin's Creed Origins, in Valhalla, in
Odyssey.
Odyssey, all 3 of them randomly have you, not very often, because it's the part people don't. Most of the fans don't like that part. The fans that actually say it's actually good and like that part, they're such a small minority that they're so insignificant they don't even matter. Because most fans are like, get rid of the modern stuff, just keep us in the past. It's all we really care about. And every so often it does take you back to the modern, and they're still on the same character that they introduced from 4. And I think the reason why is because they've just been like, you know what? This is the way to keep this franchise going. Brand recognition, keep it going by having some characters not really doing too much in the modern, and she's only barely really talked about. Like literally at the very end of Odyssey, she just interacts with some of the characters through Assassin's Creed, and you see her, and that's it. That's like the only time you really talk to her, the modern step, and it's so weird because that whole game is not that, and it's so different from old Assassin's Creed, which does kind of flip flop you back and forth pretty frequently.
The thing for me is it was literally building up to Desmond in the future uh, to fight the Templars, to turn into an assassin, and
Yeah.
it simply didn't happen. And when they killed off what's called, I forgot his name, the lady stabbed him, and I'm like, dude, then you should have
The blonde
ended
girl.
it. Now I'm going for spoilers because I'm pretty sure this is most of us here played the game, and the people that didn't, sorry,
Yes.
but
Statute of limitations, Omar, you're allowed to talk about a game that's decades old.
I was about to say, yeah, it's like almost 15 years now. But yeah,
yeah.
like I understand the idea of like you would want it to to have that ultimate big
No,
what's the word I'm looking for? Like
the
he
game was
becomes an
literally
ultimate.
building. The game itself was literally building towards that. Was that not the entire idea from it to
I
build
don't know.
him as an
That's the problem.
assassin?
You have to ultimately ask Jade Raymond about that, and in the end, she didn't think people really reacted well to Desmond overall in the story and where it was going. And ultimately, her and the writers said, okay, yeah, you know what? People don't actually care about Desmond. People don't actually care about the story. So let's just kill him and let's move on. Like
Wow.
you know what I mean? Like the actual fan base
No
didn't
pushback
want
from
that.
that?
Well, I mean, there's, the very vocal minority, but apparently that wasn't the big problem at all.
Yeah. But you have to admit, Desmond was a wet blanket of a character. He was as
Which is why if he turned into an assassin, it would have given him a new, almost like a identity in a way.
yeah. I don't think. I mean, basically, where he was an assassin. I mean, it's not like he was. It's not like there was some sort of transition that happens where you become an assassin. I mean, he already had the skills. I think basically already since the first game. That sort of was the third point that he sort of subliminated those skills and became an assassin.
Yeah, they were in his brain somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, so it's not that would have helped turn him into a more interesting character. But I think aside from his character, I'd say the story was also really spread thinly. You know, the future or current timeline stuff, because most of the story was told in the past, and yet, as I said, that's what people cared about. But I also think people didn't really care about the future stuff because there was not really much going on. It was really, I mean, the first game had, of course, some revelations because of realizing, oh yeah, look, you're basically now captured with the Templars all along. But I think other parts had very sort of putting breadcrumbs into the showing you what the storyline is. But overall, it's you can probably summarize that future storyline in for Desmond in like on 1 or 2 pages. It's not that deep in my opinion. So I feel like because she purposely didn't focus on that, I also think people didn't really resonate that much with it, and indeed, as you said, didn't really care about that much. So yeah, you could afford to just kill him off and introduce a new character. Because perfectly honest, I didn't even remember that you just said like the after 4 we were stuck with the same character. I didn't even realize that was the same character.
Yep.
That's how little.
Well, the thing is, I never played Black Flag. I never played Unity. I never played what's
Black
called.
Flag is so good. What do you
I,
do?
I heard
Yeah.
about that. I'm gonna play it when PlayStation Plus Premium gets, because I
Oh,
have
and
there are a few games I wanna play on there. But because
don't forget Rogue, by the way.
I
It's
hated I
highly
hated
underrated.
I hated
You
3.
mentioned Rogue? Oh, 3. Okay, no, Rogue is
I
came
I
after
I
4.
actually love that twist at the beginning. That's a nice twist. I enjoyed that. But when I'm at 3 and all I'm literally doing is hunting for animals to make my what's called gear better, I'm like, this doesn't feel like Assassin's Creed for me.
Oh, well,
Oh, you
I
mean
actually like that part. But oh, sorry, go ahead.
it's part 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was
Yes.
around the time of like Far Cry 3, right, where that got popular.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's like, you want to say anything, something, Weep?
So yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I actually gameplay wise, I really liked 3. The issue I had with 3 was that uh, Connor after he grew up was such a almost whiny character. Like I kind of wish you got to play like I think it was his dad. Like, you played in the prologue. I kind of wish that you could play as him for the
Hi,
entire game.
Sam.
And I think that's why Rogue was kind of like such a surprise. Where basically that was kind of the game that I hoped 3 would be, in the sense that you're playing with a Templar and actually
Yeah,
managed.
that's why Rogue is so cool.
Yeah, I mean, and actually, it actually succeeded where I think others fit, because there was some intent to sort of show the other side, right? To make convince you that okay, maybe the Templars aren't all bad, but that often was hampered by the fact that you had these mustache twirling villains on the Templar side. So it was pretty hard to sympathize with them when they were so obviously evil.
Yeah,
But Rogue really succeeded in that, because it actually showed you that there were actually people who believe what we're doing was right, and yeah, the assassins weren't always on the right side. They sometimes messed up and yeah, caused more harm than good. So the only issue I have with Rogue is that I never got to finish it because I had a game breaking bug where right before the last confrontation, the game dropped me like through the floor. So always when I went to the last section, I always fell through the floor, and no matter how many times I reload, I could not actually play that last level. That's the only gripe I have with
Oh,
Rogue.
weird.
But otherwise, yeah,
The
weird.
game got a remaster too, so like it's actually pretty. Like once the PS
Where?
Plus Premium,
Where is it,
and
Rogue? Because I never played that game. I want to
so
play it
Rogue
now.
was when Unity came out at the same time. So Unity was a strictly next gen game.
Hmm?
That was my first big AAA product.
Ooh.
Unity was being made, and then the 360 and the PS3, they didn't want to leave it behind completely, so they made Rogue, which is like supposed to be a pseudo kind of like it's not a direct sequel, but you know the idea of a sequel, pseudo
Mhm.
sequel between Assassin's Creed 3 / Black Flag, like those two
Mm.
together, and so it's a damn good game. But
From the
it's the
sound of
thing
it, yeah.
the thing the
I,
thing the thing with like that whole series is when you said yeah you were surprised that you were playing the same girl in the modern area who's playing through these characters. It's like I didn't even know what her character model looked like. I completely had forgotten. And then,
And you're the developer, eh?
well, yeah, but I mean, like, I don't fucking go. I'm working on level design. There are 2,000 people that work on those games. So I didn't even know she had a character model or anything until Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where, spoiler alert, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you see her, like, directly, and you talk to her with the main character in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I'm like, oh God, like they're communicating the past and the present through the pieces of Eden, and I'm like, this is wild. This is a cool idea. And then I'm like, wait a second, that's how I was supposed to be playing the entire time. That's who's supposed to be in the Animus. Okay then, like I had just forgotten completely.
Question, if I play now Valhalla, would I be lost?
no,
Yeah, no, not at all.
no.
Story-wise, how? Come.
I mean, maybe a tiny bit from random stuff, but no, like no.
So basically what they're trying to do is not link every single Assassin's Creed with each other. It seems
No,
to
no.
be.
They are linking together. Like there are certain characters that you meet during the past that they'll show up in another game. Like for instance, Rogue, right? Okay, Rogue and Unity are connected in a way. They're connected, and so the the person in Rogue, spoiler alert, person in Rogue you kill in Unity.
Yep,
Okay.
while they're in Paris, yeah.
Mhm. So they are
Well,
connected.
because Rogue, she is an assassin, a Templar. That explains it. Why you kill her
Mhm.
than in Unity. Okay,
Yeah,
I still want
and
to play both games. It's like,
and even like
yeah,
just
go
so you know,
ahead.
like so at Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey, basically the character your great grandchild is basically related to the main character's family in Origins because
Yep.
the Greeks kind of took over Egypt there, so like it's just part of the same like lineage and line of descendants of the Assassin's Creed order. It's a little bit stupid because you're like, well, that's an old ass order from Greek times, my God. But still, like they try to set that stuff up and they try to link things together. And even in
Yeah.
Valhalla, there's a little bit of Cassandra in that because
I love Sandra.
Cassandra
Malaka.
Cassandra is the canon character, and so she shows up in Valhalla. But
Mhm.
Mm. Okay, so Mason, I'm gonna go straight to it because we had our fun. First of all, and this is not me because I never played Unity, but I've seen Unity. Uh, Elaborate for me why Ubisoft created one of the best parkour and then killed it.
Mm.
Unity parkour is off the chart. Come on, dude. Why
Well,
not
it's
incorporate that in other Assassin's Creed? What happened?
it is in all the other Assassin's Creeds though.
Not to such level though. Fluidity, the way Unity
Yeah,
is.
there it's still in there. The thing is, the difference is the games became open world action adventure games. So like much of the time you don't spend in cities, right? You're spending them only in open areas and traversing land. And so
yeah.
it's just not the same. We don't spend so much time focusing on a character traversing up and down, but it's got the same systems, right? Press and hold the one button and hold circle to go downward while you're running forward, or press triangle. Boy, it's been so long, so I can't remember now. Like, it still has that upward. You can force the momentum upward or downward with the button press and all that. It's just that Odyssey and Odyssey and Valhalla both have this problem. There are no major cities. The Greek city-states were so sparse compared to like Rome or compared to like, Venezia during the Renaissance, or compared to, the revolutionary Paris, And I think that's the problem. We just don't see it. But
Gotcha. So I played, shout out to Viper Reeb. I played and platted about 9 Assassin's Creed games starting from 1. It's nice to see the connection between games for nostalgia, but not necessary to play yet. Yeah, no, I used to love Assassin's Creed, dude. Like, I remember texting my brother that lived in a different country after the ending of Revelation, or forgot which one, after the credits, because he missed out on that cutscene. And I'm super excited and texting him. He didn't give a fuck about that because it was late and stuff like that. But I love the concept, and to me, in my head, it was building that I was expecting a futuristic Assassin's Creed game. It felt to me that's what they were building up to, and
you'll get that one day.
they kind of had that though, but story-wise, they kind of had that because that's the entire concept of Desmond. He was supposed to regain his quote-unquote Assassin's Creed blood and start to become a killer machine.
Can I tell you what I think really happened?
Go ahead.
I think what really happened was, when they sat down and they said, "Hey, what are we going to do with this series now? Like, are we going to actually make our way to the future?" And I'm sure somebody at the higher up says, "Well, no, we have to keep going with the series because this is our biggest franchise. It is Ubisoft's biggest franchise, right? It makes more money than anything they fucking have." And they're like, "We have to keep it going. So how do we keep it going?" And I'm sure that's probably how Watch Dogs came up. I'm sure Watch Dogs is supposed to be that. It was supposed to originally, and then it's a little bit different each time, but it was supposed to be the modern version of Assassin's Creed. And of course, that didn't work out so well with 1, but at least Watch Dogs 2 is fucking amazing. But like, I don't know, I think that's what happened, because they said, well, if we go to the future, then we're fucked because we have to finish it, and then we can't make any other Assassin's Creed games. Or it just seems like we're just making it to milk, and people will actually like hit us, either not buying as many copies, or they're going to hit with like reviews saying we're milking, just keeping the franchise alive for no reason, and all that stuff. And so like, I bet that's what happened. It got spun off into Watch Dogs, and Watch Dogs is supposed to be the modern version, and they kept it going otherwise.
Yeah, because Watch Dogs, you can actually meet what's his name, one person from Assassin's Creed, and it's not an Easter egg. It almost feels like Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs are connected.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's dumb because Watch Dogs is just not the same fucking game at all, obviously, right? But like, I get the idea if that's what it is. It's speculation, because maybe I'm totally wrong, but it just is like, why would they just randomly spin off Watch Dogs, which is literally Assassin's Creed in the movement, in the way you scale things, even more so in 2. In 2, you're just like goddamn Spider-Man and can get up some of the craziest buildings to, hack in and do stuff. But 3, not so much. 3 is a little more grounded. Well, grounded, I'll put that in quotation marks. But like, it's weird because I'm expecting that series to go off the deep end and be more Assassin's Creed, but Assassin's Creed has gone off the deep end and been more like fantasy based, right? Like having gods and monsters and all this mythology pushed into it and explaining it away as like it's alien technology. Ooh. And I think that's cool, but it's also just like, why is Watch Dogs gone off the deep end yet? But yeah.
Would you do you think, or would you agree that Ubisoft just don't know what their fan base wants? Because their fan base been screaming for an Assassin's Creed in Japan, and then we got Ghost of Tsushima.
I guess I would say maybe they don't, but also like every subsequent game is sold better every time. Like there's been no downtick. Every single Assassin's Creed game since the first one has outsold the past ones every time, without fail. Valhalla is the fastest selling of all time. Odyssey was the fastest selling of all time at its moment. Origins was the fastest selling of all time when it came out. Syndicate was actually, they didn't talk about it, but it did outpace Unity at the time. They were kind of quiet about Syndicate, which is sad because it's a really good game. But so like, do they? That's my problem is like, I do get the idea is like, do they listen to their fans? I don't know. Do they? Because like they keep selling and they keep selling better and better every time. So they're
Yeah,
either
no,
they're listening to the majority of the fans. Maybe I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't think that. I think that genuinely every single person I've spoken with has said that they want an Assassin's Creed in Japan,
But they've said
and
the same thing
that
about like Need for Speed, and they've said that all the Westerners want their favorite game in Japan for no reason, and I'm like, well, sometimes it's just weird, but okay.
And hey, do you
Everybody
have
wanted
anything to say?
Tokyo Drift or whatever, right?
Yeah.
When Tokyo Drift came out, everybody's like, "Why is there no Need for Speed Tokyo Drift? God damn it!" And I'm like, you know what? Calm your shit.
And hey, do you have anything to say?
I mean, I didn't want Assassin's Creed in Japan for no reason. I wanted it because I felt like it personally fit.
That's it,
This
huh?
samurai versus the ninjas was literally the Templars versus the assassins. I mean, it was basically gift wrap for them to make it. They just never did it. So
The
that's why I
downside is
actually
like
wanted it there.
the downside is making the samurai bad guys. That doesn't go over so well. But like, yeah, like
I mean, gaming has done far worse. They'll be okay. It's
sure, but now it's
it's
20.
alternative history, not accurate history.
That doesn't really mean much to the hardcore, Like, I'm pretty as left as it gets, but I know how beat up developers can get just for, like, painting one group, especially, like, samurais in Japan, as just, like, they're all Templar, they all want to kill everybody. And it's like, yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Well, not that they were all Templar, but that I'm saying it fit the notion because all the people that were
Sure.
on the Templar side weren't necessarily bad people. They just were unaware. So there were
Sure, yeah.
people within that were, you know, basically controlling things the same way they do in modern government, and not everybody's there for like the negative take, but well, if, the people in control are the Illuminati, the top 5 people or whatever, however many people there are, I think there's like 40 of them or something in
Yeah.
Valhalla,
Well,
but
like,
that's what I meant.
in Assassin's Creed, it's weird, though, because, like, have you, everybody's seen, like, James Bond's not newest, but, like, recent films where M says like they always have somebody in the room, and then that person it was like a joke, but then out of nowhere somebody like pulls out a gun and shoots her, and she's like, I was only it was only hyperbole that there's always somebody in the room. I feel like that's the way Assassin's Creed has built itself. It's like the Templar everywhere, and they always know. Ugh. And
Yeah,
it's like,
I mean, pretty much.
and that's the problem because then it's like, oh, they're all bad guys. But I know what you're saying. Like, not all, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mm.
like,
Yeah, there's enough of them to be everywhere all at once, always,
yeah,
even when you think they're not there.
Oh, it would have worked perfectly. I mean, I think Oda Nobunaga was sort of converted to Christianity, so I think that would have been perfect. So, say he was a Templar,
oh no,
and
you can't do that. You can't. In Japan, you
no,
actually can't make Nobunaga bad. It's actually a really bad thing. But yes, I know where you're going. I like the idea.
well, hold on. He's pretty much a bad guy in the Sengoku Basara series. He's the villain, so you can make him a bad guy. I mean, they're quite aware what he was, but he's often romanticized as sort of a misunderstood villain. And to be fair, I mean, there's a sort of historical accuracy to it that he is. I mean, he was most definitely a villain in the sense that he was very ruthless and cruel, but he also was quite enlightened that he understood, the importance of educating people, taking care of giving their, a basis means of existence. that kind of thing. So but that's sort of with a lot of historical characters. They have a lot of parts that we would consider by today's standards as being very cruel, maybe even war criminals, but also
Yeah, by today.
very enlightened by that time.
Because I
So
think what becomes a problem is like, at least with the series you're talking about, it's Capcom, right? No, that one.
doesn't think Tecmo.
Is
There's
it Tecmo
Capcom.
Koei?
I think
Capcom
Tecmo
made
Koei.
one. I just don't remember which one that one was. Something Basura, but
Uh,
anyway, yeah. Like the thing there is that that's Japanese devs. I, it's something
It is
about
it is
Western
Capcom,
studios.
by
If
the way.
is it Capcom? Okay. If Western studios make a mistake, right? Like just think about like when we talk about Ghost of Tsushima, we talk about like how well they did that and how good they got it and everything. But boy, if they had just made one little mistake and it had come down hard, you would have never heard the end of it, even if everything else hit so perfectly. So I think like
Oh, so you're afraid
that's
of cultural appropriation or whatever you call it.
yeah, that's the big problem. People are always afraid of culture appropriation because specifically Assassin's Creed Origin was written by Youssef. Oh shit, now I forget his last name, but he's Egyptian. And he's the director at the Ubisoft Montreal team, and so he made Origins and he wrote Origins and all this stuff, and like it came from a place where, as an Egyptian man, he wrote this really really down to earth Egyptian storyline, during that time period. It's like so well done. Uh, Odyssey is written by Catherine something shit. I'm bad with people's last names. Fuck. But anyway, she is Greek, and so it's like, oh, okay, there's like direct correlation. And with Valhalla, they got Cormac. What is his name? The guy who wrote the Saxon Chronicles. There's an amazing Netflix series called The Last Kingdom. It's on Netflix. Amazing series. It's based off the book series, The Saxon Chronicles, and he wrote that. He helped write the story for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So like, there's all of these. They try really hard to make sure that they get their cultures, the most culturally important people in those positions for a game that's going to be representing a certain culture, And like,
so what would be the issue with them having do the same thing with Japan?
there's probably just no Japanese people that work in Canada, the Canadian studios. Like you'd have to have, imagine if they had like two Japanese guys, right? And they say, hey, do you want to write the story? And they're like, I don't want to be a writer, or like, I don't want to be fucking,
I
you know.
understand that's ridiculous. What you just said, like with the Valhalla, you have somebody who wrote about this. I mean, you
If they
can
were ready
involve.
for it.
Yeah, but you can hire the right people even outside of the company to make sure that it's as authentic as possible. And I mean, this is not very hard to get right because there's so much
Trek the Yomi got it
story.
wrong. Like,
Hmm?
Trek the Yomi got it very wrong. Like, I mean, it's easy to get it wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tsushima
but
was horrible. Story-wise, Tsushima
yeah,
was
but
horrible.
they're not trying to be. I'd say, yeah, I mean, okay, authentic, but not trying to be trying to tell a historical story that's supposed to be rooted in facts. And the thing is, you know, I get where you're coming from, and you definitely have to be careful about that. But I say Ghost of Tsushima kind of had it easy because the antagonists were the Mongols. So I mean, had been somebody else, another had it be part of the story, be part of the Civil War, like the Sengoku Basara period, or the the Civil War during the Meiji
Warring states.
Revolution.
Warring states. Oh, you're talking
Yeah,
about. Oh, okay, sorry.
yeah.
So,
I mean,
so yeah, okay.
yeah, I mean, those are definitely very famous, very well, very often visited eras, especially in Japanese stories, and with a lot of heroes, let's say, on both sides. So these are perfect for setting a story like it. But I get where you're coming from because the difference, of course, with a story like Ghost of Tsushima is that you don't have. I mean, obviously, these are fictional characters take with the background of a historical event, but they're not like part of, let's say, a larger conspiracy, like a larger story that's somehow ingrained into the history of a particular culture. Say, okay, yeah, but this is all part. This is just another chapter in
Yeah, it's
epic.
like one person's story during an event in history. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there's not like there are no Templars who are actually controlling everything. So I get what you're saying now, but I still think it's possible, and I don't think it's
Oh,
uh,
nobody's
th-
saying it's not possible. I think what ends up being the problem is like, do people want to do that? Because like it hasn't been done yet. They would have done it if they had found people who want to do it. Like I hate to say that, but like I mean, the video game industry is actually very small. It's incredibly small. It's incredibly inclusory and very exclusive. It's very terrible in this fact because if you don't know somebody, it's hard to get in, and it's just a terrible way for it to be done. But that's just the industry, and sometimes it's like sad. But there's so few people doing these jobs that I wonder if there just is nobody. Well, number one, Japanese developers, they kind of, it's just the culture of staying at your company and never leaving kind of thing, right? We've only recently seen some leave. But like it's probably really hard to get writers to want to actually do that, right? It was super easy for them to find somebody for Origins. Like this guy wanted to do the Egyptian storyline, this woman wanted to do the Greek storyline. Maybe they just had nobody who ever wanted to touch Japan. They probably have a big, whiteboard with all the places they can go. And I'm sure some people are just like, ooh, nah. Because, not everybody likes Japan either, right? Some people are just
I
like,
mean, yeah, I can totally see that because this is definitely a very valid argument. Just because fans want it, you don't have to give that to them if you don't want to. I mean, you're not performing tricks for their amusement. Uh, you also have your own let's say
yeah, yeah.
integrity that you want to do what you want to do, and if you can't make it work, if you can't find a reason aside from fans wanting it to go there, yeah, then go. I
It was
mean,
like
if you can tell a
Unity.
better story with Egypt or Greece, yeah, go ahead, do it.
Yeah, and Unity was like kind of one of those things where I was happy that it was being made, and I thought it was really cool, and I was happy to be part of the project. But I kind of rolled my eyes at the same time because I'm like, of course the French fucking company is going to make a revolutionary France version of Assassin's Creed. I'm like, God damn it! And I know it's negative for me to be that way, but I roll my eyes because of course they did. Fucking
I,
Oh yeah.
Royalist.
I'm listening. Great conversation.
yeah.
Innate. No, not innate. Pharaoh, you've been quiet. What's your thoughts on this
Um,
one?
I mean, I haven't played Assassin's Creed in a while. I think it is an intriguing franchise. It's a little bit too long for me at times.
Mm.
Like the way they've done it now, and then adding the season passes and stuff is just, you know,
I think, you know what happened? I have the wrong vitamin G podcast, vitamin G member. I needed Yubei. He is the one
yeah.
that,
Jubei is the Assassin's Creed guy.
yeah.
Um,
If he comes, he comes. So, for me, yeah, go ahead, continue what you want to say.
but I mean, as far as like them doing Japan and stuff like that, I rather them do areas that they're passionate about. I mean, I was excited when they did the Egypt one, so I did buy Unity. I played it a little bit, but I never got around to finishing it. Um,
Oregon.
Origins, but you're okay.
Origins, yeah, Origins, my bad. So got that, never got around to finishing it.
Gotcha.
Um, and I mean, I think they need to change it? No, because if it works, you know, you feed the masses, not your necessarily your niche audience, and what they like. So I mean, I think they should keep doing what they're doing.
It's
Um,
funny because they actually, weirdly enough, I'm with you. I think it's bullshit that they pad so much nowadays. Like I think it's awful.
yeah,
But I feel like that padding and the DLC stuff, it is literally only targeting their niche audience, right? The people that just live in that fucking world and never leave, right? And I
yep,
think that's probably the downside because we look at it from the outside and go, my God, this game's too big. I don't want to play it. And then you've got the like small minority of people who are wringing their hands, going,
yeah.
Hmm.
Yep, and the thing is that niche audience, even if it's small, it's a lot of people, and they spend money on that extra content. So who am I to tell them to not make it anymore?
Gotcha. Okay. It goes down to me. Game in despair, go fuck yourself. Daddy here. Cute. Um, if you want to join, just come join. If you play, I'm pretty sure you play the Assassin's Creed game. I'm curious about what you have to say. No, for me, it goes as follow. When it comes to I never played Origin, so I can't talk about Origin. I'm talking about Odyssey. I love Cassandra. Her everything Malaka, everything that's fun. That was fun. Um, my biggest issue is the fucking ship.
Oh, this ship is fun.
It's fun the first 5 hours, but then at some point it becomes boring. Cause you're fighting the same enemies, you're not getting good loot out of it, and it 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 gets boring and it's very fast. And the one with the mask, I love the concept, but fighting them didn't feel unique. It felt like a normal guys with different weapons. That's it. They had a chance to make it unique, give them each one of them a unique weapon, make it magical, not magical, but make it memorable, something like that. And the biggest issue for me is how they lock what's called level progression main story behind level cap. But the problem with that is they sell you a potion where you can get 50% more XP. Yet when the community came together and created a level for free in a single player game, mind you, where you're able of gaining a power leveling just to skip on the boring fetch quest, and Ubisoft cracked on that, cracked down on that. Like, why? It's okay for you to sell a potion, but it's not okay for us to power level? Alex, what's your thoughts on that one? Because that's one of my biggest gripe with that is what's called is the monetization. Like if you want to sell a horse costume, I have no issue with that, but as long as it doesn't affect the gameplay. But when you literally selling XP bottle, and the problem is you really need to do an hour or 6 to 8 just plain what's called what do you call that shit? Um, not farming. You need to do you need to for 8 to gain XP just to be able to be on the level to be able to play the main game. Cause if you're 3 or 4 level lower than the recommended levels, then they one shot you. The enemies one shot you. Go ahead, Alex. What's your thought on what I said so far?
the 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 XP boost that they sell, like they've been selling since Origins, yeah, I think it really sucks. But I know for a fact that never, ever has any of the past three games that have had that ever been designed with that in mind. It was always added after the fact. In fact, Origins didn't launch with it and didn't come out till about 6 months later when they realized there was some people were like, boy, I wish I could just, do this. And they're like, you know what? We'll charge you for that. And then like that became a thing, like somebody at the higher ups heard this bunch of people postulating that they were like, oh, I wish I could just do this. And they're like, all right, we're going to charge you. And so like the devs never designed it that way. So like when they removed that single player, that like mission thing, that custom created community thing where it got you a bunch of XP and stuff, that actually for the devs broke the integrity of the way they designed the game. And I know like people think, well, it's just that's bullshit because they have this XP doubler that they can pay for. Yes, but they were never designing that game around that. I just know for a fact they never did because I've been a part of like all those meetings and never that happened at all, ever, you know? But that's the problem with AAA gaming in general. All games are open world now. All games are too fucking long. All games are padded to have a bunch of nonsense bullshit missions that I don't care about, and most people don't care about, except for the extreme fans. So like, Assassin's Creed Origin, that's a 9 out of 10 game for me. Or not Origin. Well, Origin is too, but Odyssey's a 9 out of 10 game for me. Horizon Forbidden West is a 9 out of 10 game for me. Ghost of Tsushima is a 9 out of 10 game for me. But I hate all of their side quests. I just don't care. At a certain point, I do some of them, and I'm like, these are cool, but I'm getting so sick and tired of them. And the only reason they're there is to pad for the people that love and want to live in that world. And that's fine, right? But the problem is, a lot of these games end up putting some of the coolest shit behind a long enough progression or a brick wall like leveling thing where I'll never get to do that. So like at Forbidden West, there were certain things that people were doing. I'm like, I never got to do that because I just stopped doing all the side stuff. That's lame. And same thing with Assassin's Creed.
I actually, in Forbidden West, they let you figure it out in the sense of if you are under leveled, you're still able to fight high level enemy and
I'm
beat
not talking
them.
about that. I'm talking about abilities. There were certain things that I just never got to do that I saw other people do in the game on like videos and on reviews
Oh
and
yeah,
on
but
streams.
that
And I don't like that. I shouldn't have to be forced to do side stuff to get any of that. I just shouldn't, especially in an open world game where the idea of an open world game is to service the people that will stay there the longest and spend the most money on your DLC and such, right? That's the only reason open world is actually a design choice. It's not a design choice of like, I hate open world overall. I'm just sick and tired of it because open world, my problem is the idea is like, we're here to make you waste as much time as possible. And the reason why is we want you to make sure you pick up our DLC. We want you to pick up our skins. We want you to pick up this. We want you to pick up that. Like the inevitable DLC that comes out in Forbidden West, they're hoping that people are still chipping away at the game, right? They're still hoping people will pick it up as they go along and still chip away at it. And like that's the same shit with every open world game. And I'm just so sick and tired of it. I hate the industry at the moment, right? Because I hate the fact that everything is open world. Thank God for games like God of War, Ragnarok, right? Like, thank God for these linear wide games that are so much better products, so much more concise, thought out, much more well designed, much more. Just everything is so much better. And these open world games, like, it just needs to stop. The problem is the consoles were made with only open world in mind because their CPU overhead is insane. I have a big problem with the AAA industry, and the reason why all these other companies are getting bought up and all this shit all stems from the fact that they all overblew their budget ideals and they overblew their fucking like their we have to make everything open world, so we gotta balloon our staff up. We gotta have 6,000 people on this fucking project. Oh, they just balloon this shit up, and they all are getting hit so hard because the margins have just been just evaporating. Like I love when companies are like, we made this amount of money completely. Holy shit, isn't that a good amount of money? And all the fans are like, yeah, wow, that's cool. But in actuality, then you look at their revenue for the end of the year and you notice that like actual game revenue is so pitiful compared to like subscription revenue, or so pitiful compared to like their overall like microtransaction revenue, right? And I'm like, God, I hate the fucking industry so much at this moment. But that's just me. That's just the way I'm.
I
gotcha.
mean, I get what you're saying, but as someone who has played all of those games you just mentioned, I do think some are designed vastly worse than others. Um, Assassin's Creed, especially because me actually playing from the very first one, I never skipped. I played all of them, including the PSP, PS Vita, all that shit. The worst of those practices that you mentioned has definitely become Assassin's Creed. Um, like just the the amount of shit. Like Valhalla is so damn big that the game doesn't even. I explained to somebody I have 93 hours or something in Valhalla. I
Mm-hmm.
have all the DLC, the whole 9 yards. I explained to somebody the other day, as someone who has gamed for 30 years, I actually don't know how to beat the game.
Hey,
That's how big it is.
what
Yeah.
do you mean by that?
Like there's no, so you can't just you can't just play the game through exactly. Like there's certain things that have to be met within the world in order for you to actually be considered like in game, for that gold trophy to pop that shows you beat the game. Like it's you have to see it for yourself to truly understand. I have the platinum in Odyssey. Odyssey is like a joke size wise compared to Valhalla,
Oh
which is why I
boy,
laughed.
and I got
Which is why I
pretty.
laughed when they said they were making it smaller. It's not fucking smaller, not even close.
Oh man,
What Odyssey's problem was the amount of useless ass side quests that they
yeah,
had that were just like some auto generated trash. My biggest problem with Odyssey as someone who played that to platinum was that once they increased the level cap at one point to like
yeah.
this, I forgot how high it was, like over 70 or something. And my problem with it was like I did a quest which was technically on my level, and it gave me some dumb shit like 0.5% or something. And I was like, well, what was the point of increasing the level cap if essentially you're not going to give me enough XP to even level? Like people started doing like silly stuff to like get the level to just increase at all. Like it started to resemble like my MMO days when like we would like grind for hours to get like 3% or something. Which I don't know who thought that was a good idea. That was a really weird thing that they did with Odyssey when they increased the level cap. Um, but to what he was saying about the other stuff, I don't think Ghost ever really did that because I actually really genuinely liked a lot of the side quests in Ghost. I felt like it was actually a really tight experience despite being a large open world. I felt like it all fit. And that this is where like different design philosophies personally come in for me. I never felt that Ghost like really overstayed its welcome kind of thing. Um,
Yep.
like everything just still felt really, really tight. Don't get me wrong. There's some stuff in Valhalla that's still super dope and all this stuff, but to the end that he was explaining about, hey, the skins and the DLC, y'all, y'all that haven't played Valhalla have no idea what that looks like. That shit, I think that shit has like 40 skins now, and like packs and like probably 200 DLC weapons and like, I'm not, don't get me wrong, you could fuck shit up with all the stuff in game. So they never mess that up. Like you never feel weak just because there's DLC stuff. Like, so I will give them that. Like it's all just like a, hey, this looks really cool. Do you want it? So I'll give them that. But yeah, they've definitely went insane with the add-ons and all the other stuff. Um, as far as the rest of the stuff, as far as some of the stuff that you mentioned with Odyssey, you said you've seen people do stuff you never got to see. Like that, I get because the way that Karaba has explained some of the stuff that he did and the way he interacted with something like Odyssey, I never ran into that problem. I actually fought a ton of unique things in the game, Cyclopses and other shit that was really dope and hidden in the game. But of course, the game is so big, and depending on how you go around the world, is going to create a vastly different experience for someone, that played the same exact game as me. So obviously, that's
But
like
I
semi
was mostly
curated.
talking. I was mostly talking about the one with the mask. Eh?
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like you said there were like your problem was like they could have made them unique, but they did
Yeah.
have other unique things in the world. But some of that stuff was again behind DLC. So
Oh,
I mean,
that
like
explain it.
I told y'all I'm guilty because I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan. So I always as we always joke, I bought the holy shit edition. You know what I mean? Like whatever that was. Even
The
though they
Fagida
gradually creep that
edition.
up. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it was $99, then it was $110, then it was $119. Like we see, we see as it crept up over the years. Um, and I've got the most recent DLC for Valhalla as well. Will I ever finish that shit? I don't really know. The fact that someone like me who is heavily invested in it may not actually finish the content, um, I think is pretty, it's pretty damning to the game's design personally. Uh, like to me that it's scary levels of content. And then also there's other hurdles and other things that were added in. Um, by far the worst traversal I've ever had to do in my life is when you have to go to basically where Odin lives and all of them or whatever. Can't remember what it's called at the moment, but man, the traversal in that area is like it honestly makes me not even want to play the content. Because it's so badly laid out, and I'm just like like certain things like that. I'm just like if it bothers me, someone who is technically would be considered a super fan, like I can totally see why half the people that played that game stopped, halfway through and never got any further and was like, you know what, I'm done with this game.
Well, that's what I
So
was saying
yeah,
by like I'm a super fan as well, and like I've actually done 100% of everything on all those games. But the thing is,
yeah,
for me, is that the entire industry has this problem. Like I understand the idea of getting into the minutia, but I just don't even like getting into the minutia. I don't care if like they obviously are the worst at it because they are. The thing is, they're all fucking doing the same design choices, the same design abilities, all the same stuff. It's like all so rote and so boring. There's no creativity in the AAA industry. There's no expressed taking real risks anymore. It's just constant like so Horizon Zero Dawn was a good risk, right? That was a cool risk. Except it was an open world game that had the same fucking trappings of every other open world game. Now, was that bad? No, because it's fine. That's how to play it safe otherwise, because it's a new IP, so it's a risk. But to play it safe, open world it. And like that same shit happened with Ghost of Tsushima. And I'm like, man, I just am so sick and tired of this.
Okay, but
And like
let me.
I am so sick and tired of the AAA industry doing that kind of shit. Like, can
Okay,
you imagine if God of War Ragnarok became an open world game? Like,
I
fuck.
don't see them. Okay, let me then explain something to you. I think developers like you and others, and including companies, are afraid of innovating. Because when you give,
Not me. I'm not afraid. I fucking want them to.
not you, but I'm talking developers in general. Because when you give the fan base innovation, they're gonna shit on it. They can point. Death Stranding. I love that game. But when people first start seeing Death Stranding, they shit on it. They didn't like the
Well,
concept. Yeah, go ahead.
only the developers criticize it. I think this was not developers who were criticizing that. That was
No, no, no,
critics.
no, 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 no,
No,
no. This is what I'm saying. Developers are not
That'd
criticizing
be
it, but the fan base are. The people that are so
which is
used
why they don't want to
to.
change it, is
Yeah,
what you're saying.
exactly. This is what I'm saying.
See, I
Uh,
don't think that's not on developers. That's on the companies. It's not developers at all. Developers don't give a shit what you think about the game. They want to make what they want to make. That's the idea. We want to make
So
what we
the
want to make.
the
But the
publisher
but
publishers,
essentially.
publishers are gonna
Yeah.
exactly,
come in and say, no, you're not allowed to make this one.
exactly, yeah, the publishers. That's the problem. That's why hopefully all this destruction of the AAA industry, Ubisoft getting bought sooner or later, EA fucking getting merged, Activision Blizzard getting fucking nuked. Like, hopefully this just completely changes up and we get a good renaissance or like another creative period rather than just a stale fucking clusterfuck of the same three design choices since 2013. That's my problem.
I think,
yeah.
especially for someone like you, I think, well, what I mean by that is you're now part of Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically, Bethesda is part of me.
Yeah. So then you guys, and I'm talking about Bethesda in general, have a better chance of getting your vision out there than if you're working on in Ubisoft, for example.
Sure, yeah, because they have the capital to just kind of like say, fuck it, try something.
Yeah. Which is
But
we've seen it with Ghostwire Tokyo. I don't think other companies would have okayed Ghostwire Tokyo. The same way I don't think other companies would have okayed what's called what's the name of that game? Horizon Zero Dawn. It's too much of a
yeah,
risk.
yeah.
It's you need company to take risk, but when you take risk and it flops, it destroys the company. It look at
Yeah.
for example
to be
Anthem.
perfectly honest, I don't think necessarily more consolidation may be the answer because obviously Activision and Bethesda and all these large publishers are a result of consolidation of developers. So but I'd say if you're in a position of a platform holder like Sony, like Microsoft is, you do have the option to give your developers the freedom to pursue what they want without necessarily having to make all the money because you're not in it to monetize your game to the max because you have other ways of monetizing. And I think in that way there's potential for positive change in the way of creativity and innovation. But yeah, the thing is, it's a sort of multifaceted issue because obviously, fans, gamers, the consumers are used to something, so they you want to cater to particular taste they have. Like if open world is, the shit, then obviously they want to have an open world game. I mean, I think in a GTA maybe ruined that. But also Assassin's Creed because a highly popular franchise that sort of kind of
It
made
set it set
open world
the
expanding.
I
Yeah,
was gonna say it set the standard for what like the modern open world was with Assassin's
yeah.
Creed like 2, and then everybody's been doing it so much, and it's like, oh my god, stop, just stop.
I
Okay.
also have a feeling that critics kind of because that's sort of what I see every time when a, sort of a franchise moves to the next level. If they make it open world, critics love it, and I'm like, why is that
Elden
necessarily
Ring.
improvement?
Elden Ring.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Elden Ring, Breath of the Wild, an example. I mean, look, I know if Grace Rises was here, he would probably kill me if I say it, but I really didn't like it because, and I'm a huge Zelda fan, but I didn't like it because it didn't feel like a Zelda game to me. I
Mm,
love the game design of a Zelda game. Yeah, technically traditional Zelda games are sort of open world-ish because you have a large world map where you can go to, but it's generally very linear because obviously you cannot go everywhere all at once because you need to have
mm.
the right tool, and it
Yeah.
has a
Well, it's
particular
Zelda
style.
1, right? It's just Zelda 1.
It's Zelda One, Link to the Past, Link's
No,
Awakening. It's
not even those. Just Zelda 1, because Zelda 1 you could tackle anything, anytime, anywhere, however you wanted.
yeah,
Link to
true.
the
Oh yeah,
Past, it was
yeah,
very linear.
that's true. That's true. Yeah, but
Um, yeah.
but that's the thing. I mean, it didn't really feel to me like a Zelda game. But I know that a lot of people loved it. I mean, it's not just critics, but I also kind of have a feeling that critics are sort of skewed towards loving a thing if it's turned open world, and that can obviously also influence game developers. Like, oh, if I want to have a guaranteed hit, or at least want to get a higher chance of getting a high Metacritic score, open world is a safe bet, and that also kind of
Yeah.
stifles innovation. And I'm with you there that I generally prefer a linear experience, over an open world game because often you're
Me
hit with
too.
fatigue.
Would you agree, Ghostwire Tokyo needed to be linear?
Uh, I'd say it probably would have been a better game experience.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Evil Within 2.
Um.
Evil Within 2 was like, it had linear wide design. It was very linear, and then sometimes like the levels like expanded outward. And I thought that was a good mix of what they needed to for Evil Within 2. But Ghostwire Tokyo is like, man, some of this, it got tropey. It became an Assassin's Creed
Yeah,
style,
exactly.
like open world, and you're like, oh, you didn't have to do that. You didn't
Mm-hmm.
need to. But
Yeah, I mean, I watched Morgan play Ghostwire Tokyo, like a lot of it, and I was like, at one point watching her play, I was like, I mean, obviously she was fucking shit up, and I was like, okay, that part's cool. But I was like, at one point, like, I was like, are you climbing the same building?
Yeah.
Are you doing the same thing you were doing 10 minutes ago? Like, what's happening?
Mm.
Like, and
you don't
I,
know
at
if it
one
looks
point, I
the
was like, are you
same.
bored?
It got too
Yeah.
repetitive
Yeah,
for
I
me.
actually wanted to go to you, Morgan. I've never been listening. When you come in, just say you're here so I know,
I
cause
didn't want to interrupt. Y'all were in the middle of a
not
conversation.
you're
Go
more than
ahead.
free to welcome to Arab, cause you just came in. I'm pretty sure you played the Assassin's Creed series. What your thoughts on what we've been discussing?
As far as like Assassin's Creed.
Well, yeah,
Well, the change of it,
The
it
yeah,
started
trajectory of the
like you told,
series.
yeah,
Yeah.
like you told
Um,
me you like two, and then what they did to the series, and going into Valhalla,
yeah,
so on and
I'm
so
not
forth.
a fan of the new direction that Assassin's Creed art's PT taking.
precisely.
Yeah, I
Do
was
you
a big fan.
agree? My thing is, I believe they should have ended at Revelation. That's when the story
Yeah,
should have.
honestly, after Desmond died, it kind of just went downhill for me, pretty much. It seems like I was telling this on the chat, like it seems now like the lore is on the backhand. Like they don't really care about the Templars and the assassins and like all of that stuff anymore, or the Apple of Eden. Like none of that matters. It seems like to me anymore.
Hmm?
Once Desmond died, they just kind of just like, okay, we're just gonna go back in time at different like parts of important parts of history, and we're just gonna kind of slap the Assassin's Creed title on it and say it's Assassin's Creed. We'll give them like kind of stealth mechanics. We'll throw in the cloak and like the dagger. It'll be fine. Like, it just seems like it doesn't care to represent what Assassin's Creed used to, like what it used to mean to me. Like that was the game that really I think transformed me into like a big gamer. Like me and my brother would get the new Assassin's Creed day one every time that game came out. Like we just wanted to know more about Desmond's story and what he was going through, because Assassin's Creed it was just as much Desmond as it was about the assassins in history.
Thank
Like it,
you. Please.
exactly like it.
No,
you
no,
would
no, no.
feel
Apparently, what's
bad.
his name? Alex was have been saying that
Hold on,
Jade.
give me one sec. Give me one sec. Give me one sec. Hey, Morgan, thank you for saying that shit, because that's how I've been fucking feeling about the
Yeah,
damn
like
franchise of
that.
Assassin's Creed. Because, like, dude,
I don't
he
even
like
remember the chick's name. I don't know who she is. I don't really care about her. The new chick that we're supposed to be like.
She's been there
Like she
since
yeah.
that
No, but
Black
what I'm
Flag.
saying is though, what I'm
I
saying is
can't.
though
I
is like
don't remember her name.
what I'm saying is like what I'm trying to say is like I agree completely. It should have ended at Revelations,
Yeah,
right? And
absolutely.
then all they did was pretty much just milk out the whole fucking series of Assassin's Creed. And it was
Hmm.
I didn't even want to play anymore, dude. I was just like,
I
fuck
don't
that.
either.
Why why do you build Desmond to be like an assassin and then he dies? Like that makes
So
no
that's what I was.
fucking
That's
sense.
what I was saying
Desmond
earlier.
has
I don't know if you
sacrificed himself.
guys.
I get it, but it's just like at that point it should just been done. Like okay,
But
he
did you
did what he
guys hear
had
what
to
I
do to
said
save the
earlier?
world. Hmm?
I don't know if you guys heard what I
Oh
said
no,
earlier.
I
Like
probably not.
internally the company, because I was there for 10 years at Ubisoft,
Right.
and worked on most of the Assassin's Creeds. The internally, literally them collecting all the data from the people and finding
Hmm.
out what they thought was good about the game, what was not good. The majority of players didn't care for Desmond. They didn't care
What?
for this future story. They didn't actually want any of that. And
Oh my god.
slowly, they just were like, okay, we have to get rid of it because it's the part that's like kind of
What?
hurting us right now. Because you could get telemetry data from how many times people skipped cutscenes, or if they are like pausing, trying to find some way to skip stuff like that. You can get that as developers. It's all connected to whatever the shitty service thing was called, the Ubisoft Connect thing. And
Yeah.
they found that out, and they were like, "Oh, people really actually don't like Desmond overall as a majority."
What? Oh my
That's
god.
crazy. That's genuinely
That is
And
crazy.
same
mind-boggling.
thing,
I
same
love
thing
it.
with the modern story, because the modern story slowly over time, every game had less and less going back to the modern
Yeah.
every time.
Like we had like what 10 minutes of that chick like in Valhalla. Like
Well, even in like
I have a
Assassin's
question
Creed
to you,
Black Flag,
Alex.
Black
Uh,
Flag opened in that Ubisoft like studio. Remember, you're like walking in first person, you don't even see
yeah.
her, and they're like talking to you like, "Welcome to the team." Dude, that's not how it is, by the way. And like they they um they did all that, and then through Black Flag, like you don't really ever go back except for like big chapter checkpoints. You get out of the Animus,
and you don't even have to talk to anybody. You can just jump right back in and continue. And I'm
Yeah.
like, they just ignored anything that's happening in the future.
I'll be honest with you.
I
This
just
is
want
just
to
my
Yeah.
opinion.
one thing. Game Despair, first more than you, but I just want to say one thing to Alex. Are they skipping costing? Oh yeah, you don't work at Ubisoft, but maybe you know. Are they? Do you know if they skipping something for Valhalla and Odyssey and Unity? Not Unity.
Are they doing what?
Skipping costing for Valhalla and what's called Odyssey and Origin. Do you
Oh,
know?
I don't actually know at this
You
point.
don't
Yeah,
have a
because
contact.
I left.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Margaret, go ahead.
Yeah, it just kind of that
Said I
hurts
go.
me. Oh, sorry, there's like an echo.
Hey, sorry about that. No, but I'll be honest with you. I think Ubisoft's biggest mistake was letting Desmond go, just to milk the franchise, and I hated that. To be honest with you, that's why I stopped buying their games, stopped playing their games. Like I'm like, fuck that shit. I don't want to fucking play this crap anymore. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I felt.
But despair, I would say like I understand the sentiment. I understand totally. And sometimes game series just pass. They leave us, right? Game series evolve and they're just not our thing anymore. And like that can happen. But it's crazy because they've actually outsold every past Assassin's Creed successfully since like they've never had a downtick. It's always been up. Like they're not like Call of Duty where they kind of reached a point and they've gone up and down here and there. It has been a constant growth. And like Valhalla
Yeah, I
should
mean,
hit
I've
22
noticed that.
million. But that's what I
Yeah,
mean. Like they just got different. They just got new players, and they left some of the old players behind. It's the same thing with like the argument with Final Fantasy. There is a certain contingency of Final Fantasy players who hate the shit out of modern Final Fantasy. They don't like 15. They don't like. Well, they started with 12. They didn't like 12. They didn't like 13 because it was just for them it was bad. I mean, ultimately 13 is just basically 10, really, but whatever. And like they hated 15, and they think 16 they're not going to like it all because it's not turn based. Because that's not what Final Fantasy is. Final Fantasy is turn based to them, right? To them, it has to be menus, selecting, and taking turns.
Yes.
And I understand that sentiment in their mind, right? That's what Final Fantasy is. But like, they have to leave those people behind to get more sales because they know they have to do real time combat, right? Because that's the big thing. That's the most popular thing, and that's the sad part. But so I'm with you guys. I get it, like why. But I'm just trying to tell
no,
you
but see,
why they
I was
did.
gonna say I kind of know where you're going with it though, because like I said, as much shit as I give it, and there are some really bad design philosophies that have been
Really
adopted
bad.
into the games, but I'm not gonna sit here and act like I played 93 hours of Valhalla because I hated it. Like, like you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
there's
you
some
still
parts
enjoyed
about
it.
it. Yeah, the combat is dope. The climbing. This was something that I was giving to Omar because he hadn't played it, because he mentioned climbing and something being better, and I was like, no, it's not better. I was like, you haven't played Assassin's Creed. I was like, the new one, and I'm like, it's miles better than the game that he had specifically mentioned. So there are
Yeah,
lots of improvements. There are lots of really cool things that they've done with it. And I hate to tell people, but Valhalla is currently the live service thing that they're talking about when people are like, oh, they're going to turn Assassin's Creed Valhalla or the new Assassin's Creed live service. I was like, no, it already is.
that's what I've
That's
been
why they
telling
keep
people
releasing
since
all these packs.
Origins.
Yeah, like it's already a thing. But I'm not saying it's all bad because some of it has been they've literally given us, emerging new mechanics, new weapon styles. Like, I mean, it's not all terrible. Like, I'm not going to be that guy that's all just like, oh, the worst thing ever. No, I mean, I
I'm gonna
love
be
the
that
new
guy. I'm
combat
gonna be that guy.
styles.
I hate it. I hate it.
I hate
Oh,
it
I
as
know,
well.
But like, it's like Witcher.
I'm dreading going to
yeah.
Valhalla now because what I heard from
I mean,
Nate.
at this point, you can pick it up for probably like $20. So, I mean, I
No,
wouldn't
it
sweat it.
no,
Hey, I couldn't
it's
finish
coming
it.
to
I didn't know where
PlayStation
they ended.
Plus next month. So I don't
Oh
know
yeah,
if.
it'll be on the PS Premium thing. Yeah,
Oh, is
as
it on
well.
premium thing? Okay.
Whatever the
Yeah,
highest
it's
end
coming.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for Ubisoft Classics or whatever that's getting added to PS
Yeah.
Plus.
Yep.
Also, Ghost have it, so I can play it if I want. But I'm dreading it right now because I love this franchise. I love the concept. I love the uniqueness
I'm
of.
just going to tell you, you're going to have to disconnect from all that previous shit or you're not going to feel it.
man.
Like
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, Valhalla is its own entity. You go into it like that. I'm a Viking. This is my world, and this is where I am, and this is what it is.
gotcha.
Like that.
Them
That's your
God
best
levels I
bet.
cannot. When we had to
Direct.
go to
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
do
We both
Valhalla,
talked
I
about that. The
cannot
God
fuck
level.
with that.
Yeah, I don't know who
I feel
designed
like
that shit,
space.
but like, never let them touch anything else again.
There's that's why I left specifically out of Ubisoft, was because I felt like I had reached the limit of like level design stuff, because basically they're open like I did level design for Assassin's Creed Unity, Assassin's Creed uh, Origins, and Valhalla, the base main game, right? And I did Division 1 and Division 2, and then of course our two studios games, Steep and Riders Republic. But anyway, I did level design for that stuff, and they basically, there's a certain point where I realized like the things people complain about in the series has always been not the level design. It's just mechanics and fucking like stat systems and like other weird things that like that that has nothing to do with my part of the, my design in the game, my work in the game, right? And so I realized, well, I've hit the pinnacle here, because they're not going to really go much further. And so I left. But it's funny. I'm glad you say that about the Assassin's Creed DLC, because it makes me feel good about being like, yeah, I left that place because they're going to fucking go downhill. Like the
I
talents are just going to leave over time, because, well, talent is leaving the AAA industry in general. It's just
Yeah.
I have a
so many games
question.
are getting delayed. That's why so many games are turning out so just all right.
Uh, I have a
Hmm.
question. You worked on Unity. You got an
Yeah.
Ubisoft. So we
Don't
had
trust Jade Raymond.
we had the conversation in spaces, and I wanted to now hear for other people in chat to hear it because it's very important. It's not always that we have a developer actually talking about the industry, and it's something that you already shared, so no NDA. Before I go there, Jade Raymond, uh, horror story from what I'm hearing, and I'm feeling now less optimistic about PlayStation working with her or simply acquiring her also. Do you think PlayStation gonna be able to steer her in the right direction? Cause
Yeah,
you know
I
PlayStation
I hope
is
so. Right?
all about,
Like
yeah.
they.
If it's okay, like I have a quick question. Sorry, like I accidentally broke my fucking arm boots for my microphone, so I'm on my phone right now. And one of my girls is trying to play with me. Well, not well, like one of my girlfriends. Well, friend that's a girl. All right, don't get it twisted. But that's the problem that I have with gaming sometimes. Like sometimes people think that things are like kiddie games and stuff like that, and it's not, dude. It's just, games are games. You know what I'm saying? Like I hate this notion. Like, dude, I'll play puzzle games. Like I'll play whatever the fuck it is, and it sucks sometimes because these games that you kind of cherish and stuff, right? Uh,
Ooh.
like the way you have the mindset about it, right? It's like, dude, why do you have that mindset? You know what I'm saying? Sorry if I'm going left when
No, it's
when I'm
okay.
talking,
No,
But
it's
but
let
always
it's
been
cool.
a problem in the industry, right? Because like people will always downplay the Switches for kids, and I'm like, I like being a kid sometimes. Like I fucking love playing the Switch.
you play video game, come on.
Exactly. I want to play Mario, but yeah.
But my
No, I
question
mean,
to
For
you,
stuff like that I have. You know what I'm saying? Like like me and my friend, we're gonna play a little bit of Apex, and then we're gonna play some Dark Pictures, Dark Anthology, and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
sure,
Or Overcooked too. You know what I'm saying? Like things that
I love
people look at.
Overcooked.
Stuff. Yeah, dude, Overcooked is fucking
It's
fire,
so
bro.
stressful. It's so stressful.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
okay,
But it's awesome talking to developers because I had a chance to actually talk to Jeff Ross. Yeah, obviously, Days Gone.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, yeah.
it was a great interview. So it's pretty cool talking to you too as
fuck
well.
you for not having me with you. I wanted to ask him so many questions.
Despair. Who was that with that you talked? Was that with Persona, or who was that?
No, no,
I
no,
was
no. That's Gaming Despair. He's also.
Yeah.
No. But I mean, Despair. Where did he hear the Jeff Ross interview? What was
Oh,
it on? Yeah, yeah.
oh no. It's from. Go ahead and tell them.
I was with King Thrash.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh,
On the round table. Okay, okay.
no, it wasn't on the
No, no,
rock
no,
table. It
no.
was on
He's
Oh,
asking where your name from. I think, right?
No, I'm asking where the Jeff Ross talk was from.
Oh, yeah, no, it was on his channel, if I'm
Yeah, it
correct.
was on my channel.
Oh, cool, cool.
I had my guy King Thrash, and Sick Humor, and who else did I have? Oh, and Tina, Tiny Tina. Well, I call her Tiny Tina. She used to be a former PlayStation QA tester and stuff, and she was there. And then we were interviewing Jeff Ross, and Tina. She's awesome. She's a great
Yeah,
person,
she
and
is super sweetheart.
yeah, and
But let's
yeah.
get back to.
Conversation gold left my bag.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay.
I genuinely want.
So about
Yeah,
that,
go ahead.
I'll tell you about it, right? Unity. So Unity was a next gen only project. Unity was a huge project. Unity was basically like that was going to be when Assassin's Creed arrived into the next gen. It was going to rock people's socks off and blow people's minds, right? Okay, so it was being worked on far in advance. Jade Raymond took it over. She's the entire like huge director basically, like everything. She was pulling from all the different studios across the world. 22 different studios worked on that fucking game. It was insane. And like it was the most over the top project. I literally the reason why I got hired there for that and why I was with them is because I had a lot of experience with phototelemetry and satellite data based just GIS software, ArcGIS. And so basically, they said, "Hey, what we're going to do is we want to go to Paris. We're going to look at old maps of Paris, and we're going to," which was awesome, by the way. I saw maps from like the 1500s drawn by like monks and stuff that like it was the real actual maps. They got to pull those out and look at those, and it was like the most unique, amazing experience going to Notre Dame and taking huge phototelemetry scans of the whole damn building. That was the greatest time of my life. Now, here's the problem. That cost a fuck ton of money. So then they got a huge amount of people to do motion capture suits and remocap the entire, which they're still using that same motion cap data for Valhalla and Odyssey that they did with Unity because it was that damn high quality. And they spent so much money. She thought it was going to be like the future. She thought that was going to be the thing, right? She was not wrong. She got it right. The problem is she has amazing ideas. She's a great person. She's just a bad manager because that project came together at the last fucking moment, was really poor. I don't know if you know the story. You've all played Unity, or at least remember the Unity fiasco. And it was a catastrophe. Literally in the 2 months before it fucking dropped, literally they told me, "Hey, here, can you finally we finally need your section of the game that you worked on. Give it to us." I'm like, "You guys are cutting it close." And in the end, when the game released, I realized, yeah, they fucked up big time. So she fucked up with Unity. She fucked up with Watch Dogs 1. She did the exact same thing with Watch Dogs 1. Mismanaged the project, mismanaged expectations, and fucked it up. Then she moved on and tried to make a game, and it never got off the ground, and it didn't work. So she had left. Then she made Battlefront 2, and she was on the executive board for that game, or board, I would say like executive, like decision makers. And notoriously, she decided yes on the monetization model of Battlefront 2.
Oh boy, now
And
I'm
so,
feeling
so
really worried now.
exactly. And so, like, she's a great person creatively. She's an amazing person to work with within one studio. And so she can bring it back together again with one studio, Haven, right? It's called Haven. Is that right?
Yeah.
She can do it. But the thing is, like, she's on a 4-game losing streak. Unity, Watch Dogs, 1, then boom, no, 5 game, because she tried to make a game with Stadia too, and she never made anything, and then just basically left them in the wind, right? Like she was
That's
supposed to make a big project for them, and didn't
but
Didn't they
happen.
that's on
cancel?
Stadia.
Yeah, that
That's
was on
not on
Stadia.
Air. Because Stadia kills that division
Yeah.
themselves.
Sure, but I mean, like, how could she not have had some sort of? It just doesn't make sense to me. There's so many times, but that's the thing is like she has awesome idea. Obviously, Assassin's Creed, duh,
A
right? Like,
question. Before you continue, go ahead, say what you say, and I will ask you a question later.
Can I go real quick?
No, no, no,
Hey,
no,
oh,
no, despair. Let him
I gotta leave.
continue.
Oh, I gotta leave.
Okay, go ahead.
it was a pleasure speaking with you. Obviously, you were working with Ubisoft and stuff like that. So, like, it was a pleasure talking to you. Sorry that I didn't have much time, but it's just that I'm getting nagged at right now, like to play some games and stuff like that. So,
Enjoy.
I go take care of that, man. And thanks, Omar, for having me on the show.
You're more than welcome. You're always
Yeah,
welcome.
thanks for
Now go
stopping
fuck
by.
off.
All right,
Alex.
take care, guys.
Um, go ahead. Continue what you want to say.
So how come they didn't fix the
No,
window problem?
Zarek. Wait a second, Zarek.
No,
Alex.
no, no. Let him go because it's fine. It's fine. It can
Oh,
be
okay.
repaired. Right?
Go
There's
ahead,
no big deal.
Zarek.
So me and my friends was teaming up in that game, right? Cyber Dragon and Enzo Machiavelli. And so we had problems going inside the window a lot of the times. We was like, bro, why is there a problem going inside the window? We try to get in, but the animation would not go in. Like the character goes around the window instead of going in. Like, you know what that problem is?
Yeah. I assume it's somebody just that not level design. It's context sensitivity of the animation just not working properly. I get it.
Yeah.
But in what
Okay.
game? In what game?
In Unity.
In Unity, yeah, okay. There's a lot of fucking problems with Unity. Like, there was you'd be walking around, and all of a sudden everybody lost their skin, and so it was just eyeballs and fucking teeth talking and cutscenes and shit. And
Hello.
yeah, the parkour was so cool looking and everything, but then like you say, you try to go through a window, and instead you pop through the fucking like geometry and jump out, and you're like, what? And then there was a lot of other weird. That game was so buggy because again, very mismanaged. But I think that is probably what, because if you check her time frame when she left, it was Unity and Watch Dogs, and when that was about to hit, she was like, "All right, bye bye." I think she knew it was like, "No, I'm not going to do this." Which, more power to her to say, Ubisoft can't handle the type of projects that at that size. Obviously, more power to Ubisoft for not doing that and not continuing that path and letting like Assassin's Creed games only being designed by 3 different studios instead of 22. Um, but she made that decision, and thank God that she did. But like, again, I'm just worried. I am like you, Kraba. I'm worried about Haven because historically, it's not. It's like David Jaffe. David Jaffe's like. I know he's crazy now because he's a senile old man, but like
He is a whole ton of
but
yeah.
he had no hits, and then he had like 2 really shitty fucking products, and then he blames other people on it instead of blaming himself. Like at a
No.
certain point, Cliff Bleszinski, great guy in historically, but he failed with 2 products, and he said that was our fault. It was my fault. It was, the team. I should have let them do this. I should have let them do that. He was actually telling people what the problem was and being honest. But he still told people to fuck off because he's Blazinski. But still, like, he did that. And, like,
What did he work on?
yeah,
Cause I don't know him.
Gears of War, Unreal
Oh,
Tournament,
okay.
he's that guy. He's the epic. He was epic when that,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah, he was the epic golden child at one point.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha. My question to you is, PlayStation should be aware of all of this, right? James Draymond fuck up.
Yeah, but she probably showed them something that was so fucking fantastic. Because I'm telling you, her ideas are
But
insanely cool, right?
but we all know how fucked up the microtransaction and loot boxes in Battlefront 2 to the point where you literally had senators intervene themselves. Like, I don't think PlayStation wants a publicity like that with their next game.
Well, I
I mean, I
don't think.
don't think Do you really think PlayStation is going to let her go that
Yeah, they're
far
not
left?
going to let her do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not how PlayStation rolls.
Unless it's part. Unless Haven's game is part of the 10 live service products they want to make. Like, we don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. But
I think it
I
is.
hope not.
So far, I
I hope
remember
not.
it is. Because they
No, they never
said
said.
she wanted to make look
What was that,
what
Morgan?
I was saying, yeah,
good.
they never specified whether it was the
Yeah,
part of
I
the thing.
thought so, but I'm like, I hope not. I want her
I
to
hope
make.
not as
I want
well.
her to make not Assassin's Creed, but I want her to do something like that again,
Right.
right?
She
A
is
single
doing,
player, strange, new thing that people are
apparently,
like, wow.
she is doing what's called a stealth game, so far I know. But what it is, I don't know.
No, yeah, Metal
Um,
Gear Solid 6. Yeah, yeah.
I never played Metal Gear, so we see.
How? What? Get out of your
Yeah,
own podcast.
no,
Lord
You're
have
in here.
mercy.
I
Oh
Metal
my
genuinely
Gear.
never.
gosh, this podcast is over.
I'm
But yeah,
waiting. I'm waiting on what's called the remake. I'm hearing.
oh my goodness.
No, but I never genuinely never did. All I did was play the demo on the disc, and that's it. I never grew up with Metal
You
Gear.
should play one on the from the PS1, like the original one before you die, because it's just like it's a seminal game. You have
I
to.
am waiting. I'm
Hopefully they'll add it
hoping
on the
it to
PS
be.
Plus
I am hoping it to be
game.
what's
I hope
called
so too.
upgraded via PlayStation. Then I'm
Yeah,
gonna get
I mean,
it.
you can always like play like the GameCube version, right? It came out on GameCube as a
Oh
remake,
I
man.
right?
don't even
yeah.
have a GameCube.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
But I mean,
Um,
like you have a PC, you get an emulator, I'm
no,
sure.
my laptop is so dog shit. I need to format it
Yeah, his
now.
current PC couldn't survive the internet barely, so yeah.
Yeah, no, I need a
We'll
new
work on that.
laptop, but I'm saving money now to buy an actual PC. I'm done with laptop. Um, Alex, it's very last topic, and then I'm pretty sure you need to leave. But this is such an amazing conversation.
Only
We,
almost 1 a.m., but yeah, you're okay.
yeah,
Oh man.
five
Go
more
go
minutes,
for it. Go for it.
5 more minutes, and then you leave. I know, I feel you. It's 1 a.m. for myself as well.
Oh, I thought you were okay. Okay, I didn't realize.
No, I'm in the Netherlands. You're in,
Yeah, I'm in France. I'm in the
yeah,
Alps near
yeah.
Geneva.
So we got the same time zone. When it comes to,
He actually enjoys sleep.
well, we talk about Series S holding development back very quick. You believe Xbox gonna feign the Series X in a few years and introduce a new model?
Yes, I I think that they will go here. One second. Let me change my mic now because
I mean, I don't think they have a choice,
Man,
personally.
man.
Yeah, like,
Series S.
it's
Oh geez.
already struggling. Uh,
Man.
that ain't even
That,
a
oh
choice at this
geez.
point. Mm-hmm.
This is why I
All
want
right,
to
is that better
clear.
quality? Is that much
Yeah,
better?
no, it's
Yeah.
cool.
hmm
Go ahead.
All right, so yes, I think they will, and it's it's very hopeful of me, but I hope that they do what they should, which is copy the cell phone market. You need to have a pretty good cadence of upgrades. So you need to, it shouldn't be some crazy like every 3 years or 2 years. No, it should be like maybe every four, maybe five, right? Every generation recently, I should only say since PS3 and the PS4 generation now PS5, they're 7 years. They're probably going to be 8. This one's going to be really fucking long. Be ready, settle in, boys and girls. But anyway, um, it's one of those things where they should have a cadence of 4 to 5 years, where the Series X is replaced by the Series XS or something, right? Series X Plus or double X, and then we get to the triple X. Can't wait.
Ooh.
Um, and then take the X, which would be old tech, within like 2, 3 more years, right? And knock it down to the $300 price. Or don't do that. Just redesign it where take away the drive, right? And then make a driveless X and call that the new S. Does that make sense? Like it's like the iPhone model and the Samsung model that they're doing it much faster every year, right? But
Yeah.
we're on 2-year contracts and usually we upgrade every 2 years or maybe three. Like I wait till about 3.5 because I like to just like
Same.
like I don't know. I just wait it out just in case. But like,
Fair. Oh, yeah.
I would
Fair.
hope they do
Yeah.
this. I would hope that they get this idea because like you in 2 years' time, for sure, the Series S is going to hold back certain parts of game design. Absolutely, within 2 years, and they're getting that leeway because we still have. I'm sorry, but we still have yet to see a next gen title. There's no such thing as a next gen title yet.
On Xbox or PlayStation? Because
On
on PlayStation,
anything.
on
No.
PlayStation there is.
No, absolutely not.
Ratchet.
No,
man.
I've been telling him this for like 2 years. He doesn't listen.
No,
Ratchet.
absolutely. No, Ratchet and
Ratchet.
Clank, there's proof
Oh.
all over YouTube. You've seen really slow SSDs that are only like maybe like 200 megabyte faster than like the highest end HDD, and there was only like a 1 frame differential. So like,
I get you. We're just starting
We,
the gen,
yeah.
so it's gonna be a
we
minute
haven't
before
gotten
we get
next
like a
gen yet.
true next gen.
It also kind of sucks because like it's not their fault either, right? Because I've told this. Carabas heard me say this when I was at Ubisoft during 2020, the whole year there, during COVID, but especially in France. In Europe, it was a fucking clusterfuck. It locked down so hard that I did no work for a year. There was no development on that game for like a year. And so like it's not really PlayStation's fault. It's not really Xbox's fault there. That's that's fucking like that sucked. So like everybody's a little bit behind. So we'll get there with the next gen, but like it's just shocking to us because we're like, boy, almost 2 years of the generation, you'd expect something to really shock us, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
mean, we're
So
already there for me
when it
personally
comes to
because
that,
the S is too weak.
I was gonna say, won't Unreal 5 be like kind of like our first taste of kind of next gen gaming?
Yeah.
Like we'll get that'll be like our first glimpse of like what's possible, like what's possible hardware wise.
And I hope so.
Innate, you want to say something?
Yeah, yeah. No, I was saying. I mean, we're already there for me personally because as far as the S being too weak, it's already too damn weak. Like, that experience is not an experience I want. I wouldn't put that on my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, my nieces and nephews got a PS5 because we don't play that shit over here. So, yeah, to me, the S is already a problem, and it's just gonna continue to get worse from here. I mean, when you're already dropping down to 540p, 30 FPS, you know, it's just not it's not even a factor for me right now. I wouldn't even get it as a gift for people, and like it's just not. When I can spend $100 difference and get a digital PS5, I'm sorry, PlayStation just went up them on that one, and people just need to fucking suck it up.
I
We're
think
also, it's like anecdotal though for us because we're all like more extreme gamers. But like my wife, I showed her the X and I showed her what the Series X can do because she plays Assassin's Creed on there because that's the easiest way for me to get my codes during that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Getting my free copies. Ugh.
it's your developer.
Yeah,
Yeah, so like on the Series X, and I showed her, and I was like, "This is what you can get," and she's like, "Yeah, okay, how much it costs?" I told her 500, and she's like, "God, isn't that's so expensive?" I was like, "Well, there is the S." She got the S, she played it on the S, and she didn't even really notice a difference. To her,
It's your
the
developer.
series, no, she's just a nurse.
Oh, gotcha.
Like for
Um,
her, it's like almost anecdotal. Like I mean, obviously, we know that the Series S is still selling really well overall, and actually is keep letting them keep their numbers pretty high, and that's good on them because like it worked out in the end for them. But it is true that like I think it will hinder development. I think at this moment, it's not because there's no studios making something that's truly next gen. Well, I mean, there is a studio out there, but there's none that is making one that's going to release in the next year. Does that make
Do you
sense?
think? I completely forgot my question. Do you think that they may realize that the Series S was a bad idea, but do you think they'll actually do something about it, or do you think they'll just keep it, because they don't want to upset the customer base because the backlash against them trying to,
Yeah, they
I
made the
guess,
promise, didn't
discontinue
they?
it. Yeah,
yeah,
the backlash of
exactly.
them discontinuing that would be astronomical. So do you think they'll just be like, oh, we'll just suck it up for the gen and just keep it?
My hypothetical is only every 5 years, right? So if like we're only a year and a half out, let's say by this November, it's
Yeah.
3 years later that they do bring something else out and then make the X diskless and put it into the S spot and get rid of the S. And they tell people, hey, listen, going forward, games are going to start being worked on those two systems, not on the S. But that's okay.
Shit.
Don't worry. Indie games will come and
Oh,
AAA third
no.
party games. You know what I mean?
They're
Like
not going to hear that.
See,
like
They're not going
that's
to be
why I
like,
said
what?
they're gonna have to start.
Exclusive? What?
we say they won't do that,
Yeah.
but like Apple does that and Samsung kind of does that, and even on PC gaming, like I'm
But
a
see,
PC gamer, but like even on PC gaming, sometimes some companies just say, "Hey, listen, like Cyberpunk, They didn't say it, but we know what they were thinking. It's only meant for the high end PCs. The low ends, go fuck yourselves, right? Like they're
Yeah,
not
but
like
I feel like that's one of the negatives of Game Pass. Like that would put them in a predicament because let's say I had a Series S and I paid for stacked 3-4
yeah.
years of Game Pass, and so you're telling me the big AAA's that I paid like that's the main reason I got Game Pass is so I can get first day and date the first party big AAA's. You're telling me I
Yeah.
can't
You said
experience
three
that
or
anymore? Are
you
you gonna
said
give me my
three or
money back?
you said the expectation is 3 to 4 years, right? To get it.
Right.
If you're
Hmm.
getting the console by let's say this November, you already know it's already been 2 years.
Right.
Like but I understand. Your
I
your
am
common your common your common consumer, they only care about from when they bought it, right? So
Right.
I'm with you on that. I think what ends up you know what the dumb excuse they're going to give? Oh, don't worry.
What?
With Game Pass, you have XCloud, and with XCloud, you can
Oh,
stream
true.
the
That's
game.
true. That's
And
true.
it's a shitty fucking excuse, but
Oh man,
God, I
my internet
something.
would not allow
I
that.
am I am expecting something. I am expecting Microsoft doing like what's called if you return your Series S, we're giving you the other one on discount. That's how I feel how it's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
that's how they do with any console. And then they also have they got the little streaming puck that's about to come out within the next year that they're talking about now, and they're gonna have like a app built into Samsung TVs. So they're on a bunch of crazy stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Ghost in the Shell. Yeah, go ahead.
that's a bunch of trash. That's all it is. That's all I'm saying.
Ghost in the Shell. You're the final one. I'm gonna give you the ground to say what you wanna say to our guest, and because he needs to leave. Go ahead, Ghost.
No, go ahead, man. I don't know what the hell's going on, man. But what's up, everyone?
Okay,
What's up,
then
bro?
with all due respect, I'm just going to skip you because you were not part of the conversation. And
That's fine.
with that being said, we are all going
Don't
to
mess
say
up, bro.
goodbye to our guest.
Karaba's like even in spaces, he's like the podcast space god, and whatever he says is like get out of here.
This was genuinely a fantastic conversation. I truly enjoyed it because you clearly see we're gamers. We're not like the other people that talk about gaming but don't play them. And it because my biggest issue, what seems to me, is Ubisoft genuinely listens to the non-gamers. It seems to me. I can't imagine you're a gamer and you're skipping cutscenes. I'm sorry.
I don't know. It's weird. Like
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
I played
it,
Assassin's Creed for the
yeah.
gameplay, but also for the story. I'm sorry. I
Hmm.
was
I know
so.
people. I know people that are more hardcore gamers than like I've ever witnessed in my entire life, and they just don't care about story at all, and they skip everything. Like they don't want story.
Interesting.
They want numbers. They'll play Final Fantasy, skip, or just
What?
walk away while it's doing story because they
Oh,
want.
yeah, he's not wrong. Yeah,
They're not.
Rob in our
What
community
is
does
Final
that or whatever.
Fantasy if not
The
the
one
story?
guy.
Like what?
I don't
No,
know.
but
They
he
just
said that.
want
He
the
was like, I want to
stats.
play.
I did skip all
He
the
was like, I
cutscenes
want to
before.
play RPGs, and I skip everything. And I was like, what? Why are you
Y-
playing
That
it?
that was Robbie. That was Robbie. Robbie. He skipped
Yeah, Robbie.
cutscenes.
Robbie.
I
Yeah, he
couldn't
skipped
believe that.
everything.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
there was some person I talked to recently. Like he's a pretty hardcore like just JRPG person, but he hates stories in JRPGs, and I'm like,
That's
interesting.
That's
crazy.
And
that's
and
rough with
and
JRPG.
but
What?
like it's weird because it's true what he says. Persona, he doesn't like the Persona series because it's only about the story.
Mm,
And it's not only about story, but I get what he's saying, right? It's hyperbole.
yeah,
Wait,
Like
you're
it's
saying
and
gaming
he
with
he must
said
hate
Persona?
he must hate Yakuza because that's like hours
Game
worth of
series.
story.
yeah. But then
Are
he
you
said
talking?
he
Are you
doesn't
talking about gaming with Persona?
No, no,
no.
no,
I'm
no.
talking about
Persona, the series,
Persona.
the
Yeah.
game.
The
Persona 4.
real Persona, the
Oh,
Yeah, the
series.
game
gotcha.
persona.
Yeah.
Um,
But
yeah.
he told me, he said, I don't like the Persona series because of that. And I was like, so wait,
Yeah.
do you try them? Do you play them at all? He's like, no, I try and then I realize it's just about story and about these like social things and I'm just done.
Dude, I
And so then
can't.
Mm.
but then I asked him, I was like, what if you could just skip it? He's like, oh no, there is a series you can do that, and that's called Shin Megami Tensei. And I was like, he's not wrong. The base Shin Megami Tensei series story is interesting and cool, but you can just fucking ignore it completely because it is hardcore numbers as a game, right? Like you can't fuck around. You have to be smart about your what you're attacking, your debuffs, and your the bonus weaknesses and strengths and stuff like that. Like you have to be dedicated to that, and that's what he's there for. He doesn't care about the
Yeah,
story, and I'm like,
it's not an involved story. It's very overarching.
yeah.
Here are the demons. Here are the angels. Yay, we saved the world, kind of thing. And it's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's not involved at all.
And so he told me that he's like, "That's my series, not really Persona." And I'm like, "Boy, that's crazy to me." But I get it because there are some people that like, what's the game like Baldur's Gate and those type of CRPGs because CRPGs are
Yeah,
really
yeah.
numbers heavy. It,
See,
I'll be
Gotcha.
honest.
I'm the one that plays both of those, but I still personally don't get playing an RPG and skipping the story. It just
Yeah,
literally makes no sense to me. I
Yeah,
was like, I
neither
would just
for
play
me.
something else.
I do that with Final Fantasy 14 and World of Warcraft. I have never.
Okay, so FF14 I totally get because that's an MMO.
Yeah, but it's true. Like in Final Fantasy or in World of Warcraft, since 2004 until now, I have never actually read quest text except for what I need to get, and that is
That's an
it.
Yeah, I
MMO.
don't blame you.
That's different.
But like nothing.
Yeah,
Like I just don't give a shit.
yeah,
People are like, "Oh, do you know what's going on?" I'm like, "I have no fucking idea." They're like, "You
Mm.
don't know who this is? We're fighting in a raid." I'm like, "I don't know."
yeah. I've been skipping text in MMOs since like the '90s. So
Don't let
You're funny.
Akira hear you. He would rage. But
Yeah.
genuinely, Alex, thank you for coming through. This was a fantastic show. We got so
Thanks for
much
having me. It's fun.
insight in the business,
Appreciate it, Alex.
and we hate Ubisoft even more now. Thank you very
Oh
much.
man.
It's not your fault, Alex.
I hope that like I don't want them to get bought out because like it's gonna end up happening with like something shitty like some some weird license holding company and stuff like that. It's gonna be really crap. But I would love if they did, just get their IP sapped up to somebody
Mm.
because new eyes on those games needs to happen. Like it just needs to happen.
It's in my title screen. Can you stay 5 more minutes? I can ask you a question then, or do you need to leave? Up
Yeah.
to you.
What? One more. Go ahead.
Okay, cause news literally broke last night. You were in there. You even corrected the article. NBC Universal is interested in EA. What your thoughts
Oh yeah,
on
yeah.
that move, and also what your thoughts on Ubisoft? Also, so we have Ubisoft, EA. It really seems to me, and with EA losing the FIFA IP, it really seems to me like we're experiencing a big change in the industry. Is this the end of it, or is this just the beginning?
Well, so this is what I was saying about like the problem with AAA development and everything becoming homogenous and just the same fucking product across all these different studios. The problem became that their margins since like 2000, let's say 10ish, 12, uh, they've just been disappearing. The margins have been getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And so then you of course you saw some studios like Ubisoft double down on like microtransactional stuff, whatever they're trying to supplement. I get it, but like it's still getting worse and worse. So the same thing happened in the early '90s, but only in Europe. So during the '90s in Europe, there was this company, I don't know if you've heard of them, called THQ and
I
Infogrames.
love THQ. I love Dark Souls. I mean,
Yeah, they're now the
Darksiders.
Embracer Group.
Yeah, now they're
Darksiders.
Embracer.
Now,
Yeah, but so this problem happened then. So during the '90s, a lot of European development was kind of like, yeah, I don't know, they just weren't able to make ends meet. They were making really amazing games that people were buying, but the thing is, it cost too much money to develop there, so the margins were too low. So Infogrames, a French company, came in and just bought a bunch of people. Infogrames at one point owned Epic, well, like a good majority of Epic, but like they were huge, and they just bought up everybody in Europe, just sucked them all up. Sony at the time was really worried, so they bought a couple European studios like the Wipeout Studio and stuff like that, Psygnosis and other companies, and so they tried to fight that off. Well, at the same time, THQ did the same thing. THQ took longer to die, but Infogrames died around the early 2000s, and that actually was the best thing that ever happened to the European dev scene because all these companies that were just not working got sapped up, and then because they got sapped up, a lot of developers kind of left and made their own smaller projects and stuff like that. And once that finally died, it was like there was like a lot more room for all these newer like studios to grow, and then they grew. Studios like Ubisoft and studios like CD Projekt Red, because they've been making games since 2007. But whatever, like those are those companies that grew out of there. Now they're having the same problems. It's the same fucking cyclical bullshit, but you can see it and you can understand it now, and you're like, okay, I see why this homogenization of the market has hurt them, and why they're being bought out, and why they need this help, and they've got so much debt because of this. And actually, I'm happy. I'm like really happy about it, and I think it'll be good because ultimately some other companies will fill the void, right? Hopefully, but other what is it? Annapurna and Devolver Digital, these indie publishers will someday become AA publishers, and someday will become AAA. I mean, hopefully they get there sooner or later. But that's what I'm hoping for. And the thing is, for EA, I don't understand what the fuck is going on there, because like, why the fuck would you want to merge with with NBC Universal? Like, what does that serve? NBC Universal doesn't make games. I mean, they've got a lot of. The rumor is that EA lost FIFA, and they're banking so hard on they're not banking, sorry, they're so afraid on losing so hard that they're trying to bank hard on getting in with a media corp that owns the majority of rights inside each of the like major football associations. So NBC Universal owns Sky Sports, and Sky owns the biggest soccer league in the world, which is the EPL, the or the Premier League. So they're hoping that they can merge and get that going, and they hope that they can. In fact, in the country you live in, Karaba, the Eredivisie, whatever the fuck it's called there.
Eredivisie, yeah.
They are exclusive with Sky as well. And so even Ligue 1 here in France and La Liga in Spain, so like there is reasons why, and I'm like, that's really fucking pathetic that they're so fucked up in all their other sectors that only FIFA keeps them alive, right? That like without that, they're dead. I just can't fathom that,
What you're trying to explain is they because they want the FIFA IP back. They're trying to prevent it from losing it. Is that
not FIFA, individual stuff, right?
Yeah, to be fair, they didn't lose the FIFA license. They stopped paying for using the FIFA name, but they can still use all the teams and the
Yeah, because they
people.
locked down a lot of deals, right? Then they locked down like Manchester United and Chelsea.
So technically, the game probably is not gonna change aside from the title. Obviously, there's gonna the title has name recognition, so obviously it could affect sales or people. I know people who only buy FIFA every year, so those people might be confused, like, okay, where's my FIFA, and don't not realize that because that's a different name.
Do you think
So they
they're
will have.
lucky that they have no competition, right? Like that nobody's gonna confuse another game for what they have. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think they're probably gonna go heavy in the marketing to just make clear this is FIFA,
Sure.
it's just not called FIFA, right?
Gotcha. It's genuinely fine to time to let you go because you need to sleep. But
what would you say? What would you say if Ubisoft was like they were really bad off, and all of a sudden you get an announcement that Sony has purchased Ubisoft?
no, I don't want. Okay, so here's the thing.
Yeah.
I want Sony to do that. If no. Let me correct myself. If Sony were to do that, then they genuinely need to have a vision and fix them and let them experiment and stuff like that. I don't want them to stay as the same Ubisoft. You get me?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it'll get restructured, just like all other companies that get purchased get restructured. But like, if that happened, like, are people actually happy that there would be like, we're gonna have the we get Assassin's Creed and we get Rainbow Six. Like they own Tom Clancy's name ultimately now at this point because they have actually put money into the estate of Tom Clancy, and so like that'll never disappear. That
People been
fucking
asking for a new Splinter Cell for how long?
well, that's being made. But like, what about Rayman? What about
Oh,
Beyond Good and Evil? What
dude.
about like
I
and
I
technically
need
South Park? Did you
I
know that?
need an OG Rayman like the 1 and 2. I need something like that. I love Legend, I genuinely do, but I need a Rayman on the level of Ori or Ratchet and Clank
Sure. Yeah.
or a new Shine of Light or Side Light.
Yeah.
And
Or that like what do you call it? Shit. Um uh fuck South Park. South Park technically that licensing the rights are still at Ubisoft for like a pretty long amount of time. And it's because they got such a great relationship in the end with Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
Um, I'm gonna give my team a chance to answer the question, and we're gonna let you go. But you're more than welcome to come visit us anytime you want, because this was such a fantastic conversation. Nate, what's your thoughts on this one? Would you want yourself to be bought by PlayStation, and if yes, what would PlayStation get out of it? Okay, Ghost in a Shell. Okay, Morgan.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, you're here. Okay, Ghost in a Shell. Go ahead.
Um, I'm a little indifferent. I've played like the Assassin's Creed games. I enjoy them. Um, uh, I love the Rainbow Six games, and as former military guy, I've always been a Tom Clancy. Um, but from my background, then how does it make sense? Monetarily for Sony, and buying just from my opinion, like buying a publisher like Ubisoft, does it make sense? I mean, because you take on, I don't know, how many staff do they have? I mean, isn't it some astronomical number?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
second largest in the world. It's like what?
Right. So how do you you know how do you, I guess, recoup your money when you're taking on so much of that, that, I guess, the burden of staff and overhead and all that. So of course I think I would like that, but I don't think that's realistic, and at least from what we all surmise from Sony's standpoint. So I don't think that is something that they would do. I guess we would like it, but then it just doesn't make sense monetarily, financially.
that's the CEO side of you speaking. Now I want the gamer side of you. What's your thoughts?
Um, no, I don't care,
You don't
honestly. Like,
care.
um,
Gotcha.
because I'm getting the games anyways, right? They're all
Yeah.
multi-plats anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
now if
but if PlayStation would buy them, then we might see a revival of an old IP. Is that not interesting? Like, I want a new Rayman. Don't you want a new Rayman?
man, I don't really care. I mean, that's not my cup of game. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I'm
gotcha.
more of the Rainbow Six guy. I'm more of the the Assassin's Creed, the first
Splinter
person
Cell?
shooter, the action. Splinter Cell, enjoyed it, loved it. But let's be honest. Like some games have their time, right? Like the other day you said like I want the game Bloody Roar to come back. I'm like, do I really want Bloody Roar to come back? Like, don't you think that like the nostalgia factor plays a role in this? Like, let Rayman be Rayman in all its PS1, PS2 glory. Like, why do
Mm-hmm.
we always as gamers always want to live in the past? I
I
get it.
mean, I
I get
mean,
it.
we had that conversation though, Ghost, because I think that's one thing that I constantly have to go back and forth with Chris
Hey,
on
you're
is
alive.
Chris is the main one bringing that up, and I have to keep reminding him like some of the classic JRPGs that we want back actually aged really well and would actually be really great nowadays. But some of these other games and other genres that people are like, yeah, bring that back. I'm like, dude, that has been exceeded tenfold, like by now. Like, you don't want that back. Trust me. You think you want it back because you're like, oh, it was so wonderful. And I'm like, look, it was the same thing I told them with Siphon Filter. I was like, no, you don't want a new Siphon Filter. Siphon Filter died because it got its ass beat by fucking Sam Fisher. Like, that's just what it is. Like, let it go.
But
Like, it's
look,
not
look,
coming
Yeah.
back.
look, but
Legacy of Kain neither.
look what they did with
Uh,
Crash Bandicoot. They revived it and they
And I
give us
still
Crash
hate
4.
they they revived it, but it's still Crash. It still is what it is. Like, I believe that you can only make so many reiterations of a game before it just, it plays its course. Like, you look at the evolution of like those stealth action games. Like you had your Splinter Cells, your Siphon Filters, your Metal Gear Solids, and for that time in that era, they were phenomenal. They were awesome. But it's like, how many more can you make? I mean, isn't that the kind of what's going on with the first person shooter genre right now? The market is so oversaturated with them. I don't know.
Okay,
I would like to see it as a gamer. Would like to see it, but I just, once again, my mind works with dollars, and it just doesn't make sense to me.
gotcha.
So
I just look at the time and I'm pretty sure I'll just need to leave. So, Morgan, very quick, your answer. Do you want them to buy PlayStation? To buy Ubisoft?
I mean, honestly, I don't. I don't see the benefit for me. Like Ghost said, they're already multi-plat, and as far as bringing stuff back or maybe reviving or fixing current IPs from Ubisoft that PlayStation can do, I'm not sure PlayStation can do that. I mean, PlayStation's been able to whip a lot of their studios in shape because, like, the studios that they acquire because of the size. Like, they're more compact. But with Ubisoft, there's so many moving pieces, so many studios. I don't know that they would be able to nail down the issue that Ubisoft has. So I don't know if it would be worth it, honestly.
Gotcha. Pharaoh?
I'm against any platform holder acquiring Ubisoft. I just don't see where it makes sense for PlayStation. Um,
Mm,
I mean,
gotcha.
unless you're trying to do it to bolster your subscription service, but they already just bolstered their subscription service with Ubisoft Plus
Well, they
being
would be
integrated.
getting what's called Western RPG with Assassin's Creed. So that's a plus.
That would be a plus, but I'd rather them, just find a Western RPG studio and just purchase just
Mm-hmm.
that studio
Gotcha.
than to purchase a whole publisher just to get one thing. Because I mean, like the question that I ask myself is, in 5 years, is PlayStation better or worse because they bought Ubisoft? You know what I'm
Gotcha.
saying?
Yeah,
Like the studios that they bought, like they kind of fit their catalog. They are already attacking the hole that they have in multiplayer. So let them focus on that. Don't let them go, purchase a whole other publisher with its own set of issues and try to, tackle that and attack their multiplayer live service game issue. So
gotcha. Weeb.
um, yeah, I honestly, I don't really want them to buy Ubisoft because it's gonna be like Bungie, so they're not gonna uh they're gonna basically still do whatever they're doing at the moment. So it's not really gonna change anything. So I'd rather have them spend that money either on their own studios or buy a studio that
Makes
probably
sense.
struggling to ends meet or whatever, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't really see the added value of that, and even if, let's say, well, Microsoft would buy them, which I doubt, considering the scrutiny, the Activision deal is already over. Probably that would be really pushing it. Um, but I mean, yeah, whoever buys them, I don't think it's going to make any difference because they're going to
Gotcha.
just keep on doing what they're doing.
Rec?
Hold on. So, I think yes, it's possible. There's some good IPs they do have. And so um, I can say that if they can fix all the problems they got that's going on, they just revamp or just reorganize everything. Because sometimes I think they need to just get back, like get together, think about the stuff they're doing, and like just come on to a common ground of what they need to do. And so if Sony was to buy them, yeah, that would be that'll be right. There's a lot of games that they got, man, that's worth to revamp on, to just bring back from the dead, you know. So
Gotcha.
so
With that being said, let's all say goodbye to our guest. Thank you very much for coming, Alex. We genuinely had a great conversation with you, and I would love to have you again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really enjoy it. That's like the most fun thing is like just talk about games in general and what people think and hypotheticals is great. So
Have a genuine conversation, be respectful, and yeah. Well, it's late for you, so good night.
yeah, good
have
night.
a good
Thank you,
night.
Alex.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Um, Continue with the show. Thank you for coming, Alex. Oh boy, Ghost, did you see? I sent you a tweet, a DM on your PlayStation. Can you see it? Can you check it? Cause that we're gonna talk about it right now.
Oh,
Uh, Everyone
that's how much.
else, I am pretty sure you've seen it. Jeff Grubb assuming stuff because of a fucking tattoo. This is the person that they put on such a high pedestal. Nah, we're not doing that. Nah, 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 nah. You wanna call a Foxy Gamer? Good on you. I will call him out as well. You wanna call out every single PlayStation Insider? I'm gonna go with you. But we are not gonna call out Jeff Grubb that said that PlayStation Microsoft is working with Kojima. Yet we have had nothing about the game, and now his assumption is based on a fucking statue that Phil Spencer had.
I mean, to be fair, the last time they saw a statue behind Phil, it did lead to something. So I guess their conclusion is because Phil has admitted that he hides Easter eggs behind him in his interviews, so people do look for them. But yeah, it's hard to go just on that alone. That's a big assumption.
It's
All right, so
crazy that. Oh, so here's another one. Jeff Grubb believes Crystal Dynamics, Perfect Drag, IO Interactive Project Dragoon, and Avalanche Contraband are all being tried out to see if they work well with Xbox. If it goes smoothly, they might be acquired. Well. I don't recall
Damn,
Microsoft
Crystal
acquiring.
Dynamics moving twice. Jesus.
This dude has been on a losing streak and no one is calling him out. Well,
Listen,
this small show is,
I
but
mean,
yeah, go ahead, Pharaoh. I'm pretty sure you're
defending.
gonna defend him.
I'm not gonna defend him. He hasn't been like what you're saying about Chris Dynamic. We don't know if Microsoft didn't talk about buying them. It just chose not to. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes. We just get the rumors. Like that's why I don't beat these guys up. Like unless they're like horribly wrong. Like if no Kojima game ever comes out, then yeah, like what the fuck are you talking about? But when it comes like these acquisition things, like
Cause you,
companies talk all the time, and it doesn't happen.
Norman Reedus literally just now admitted that Death Stranding 2 is being worked on, and PlayStation owns the IP. So
well, according to Grubb, he's working on two games. So one of
Yeah,
them being Death Stranding 2,
you can work on more than one game at once. I mean, so
and the other one being, I guess, the xCloud project that he's supposedly working on.
because I mean, hypothetically, Kojima working on two games is his studio working on two games. It's not like him like diligently building out two games all by himself. Like it's a team of people that he works with. So, I mean, it's quite possible to be working on two games. So it's like a wait and see kind of thing. Like if no game
I
ever comes
think
out of it, then
we will find out in June. at the showcase whether or not Kojima is working on an
How
Xbox game.
big do
Because
you
if he
think?
doesn't say anything, then
You know,
I have no
I think
idea.
that's kind of that showcase is gonna be interesting because all 23 studios submitted content for it, and
Mhm.
it's only a 90-minute show. I don't know if they would have time to show off a third party thing. I think they might save that for another event.
I
If
mean,
all
if
of
it's
their
coming
first
out this
party has
year or
something,
next year, they might.
It's literally their
I,
E3 though.
I think the Kojima game would get saved for like the video game awards, like how they always have a big drop at the video game awards. I think they would
Yeah,
save it for that if all of their first party has something to show in a
that's
couple
true.
weeks.
I guess
I
June would be
think
the month
I
if we
think
find
first
out or
party would
not.
be, yeah, I would think first party would get the priority. That's just what I would think. I'm
No,
not, you
you're
know.
right.
Go to Nikhil, what's your thought?
I don't get caught up in the hype, man. Because I'm not on Twitter, I miss a lot of this stuff.
Hmm?
Um,
Oh,
but I think that
you
that's,
missed so much. I need to fill you in. You're gonna lose your chat when I tell you about them.
but for I guess only in this industry, man, can people are so. I guess, and I'm not saying you all are just. I'm just saying people in general are so, caught up in, looking for the next best thing, and so, Jeff Grubb, how many times has he been right more than he's been wrong? I mean, we keep giving this guy, credence and we keep giving this guy a platform to do whatever he's doing, and he's entitled to that, right? But it's like once again, in my business, like I've got to see tangible, actionable, what I'm saying, intel before I make any judgments. And so I guess I use that even
But you're an Intel analyst.
excuse me?
I said you were an Intel analyst.
I was. I do something
Yes.
completely different now.
Yeah, I was an intelligence analyst also, so that's why piqued my interest when you said that.
Yeah. So, and so with that being said, I just I guess I'm from Missouri. You guys I'm from the Show Me State, right? So, and that's just kind of how I look into it. And so I don't get caught up in all the words. I mean, if Kojima is doing whatever he's doing, great. We'll wait. He hasn't showed anything yet. No one knows. And I don't trade in speculation. So
You
that's
didn't
this
play
just
Death
me.
Stranding, huh?
Excuse me.
Did you play Death Stranding?
I didn't. Honestly, of all the PlayStation games that are a walking simulator,
Oh
I mean
man.
that one would be it, right? And now I because I am going to try out the service, I'm going to give it a try. Like I want to see what it looks like, but it's not a game that I would buy, not a game that I was interested in, and I'm going to see what it's about just to see what it's about.
Gotcha.
I'm not a big Kojima fan. I wasn't a big Metal Gear Solid dude or anything like that. Like I don't have the patience for sneaking around.
Don't let Innate hear that. He's gonna kick you out of the show.
Yeah, I think I vote that Ghost is kicked out because that's blasphemy. That's pure
That's
blasphemy.
blasphemy.
I agree.
Pure blasphemy.
I am a hardcore casual. I'm the
Oh,
hardest core
I love
casual of
that.
all the world.
That's
not like
genuinely what you are. Oh my god, you're
Yeah.
a hardcore casual. Innate, what's your thought on this one?
I mean, honestly, I don't really give a fuck what Jeff Grubb says. You know what I'm saying? Until I actually see something. Like you said, actionable intel. Ain't nothing happening. Like, this man be running his mouth 98% of the year. Like, only for, like, one thing to maybe happen. Like, this motherfucker is irrelevant to me. Whether or not Kojima him, I don't fucking know. This motherfucker's also working on a movie, allegedly. That shit don't matter to me. If you're working on Death Stranding too, you know what I'm saying? That's all that fucking matters to me. So, yeah, I don't know. Jeff Grubb is fucking irrelevant.
Gotcha. Weep?
Well, first of all, shame on you, Ghost, for never playing Metal Gear Solid.
I never played it as well, so.
oh
Yeah,
man. Oh god.
we know
I played them.
Omar, but we know Omar, but yeah, we already know that you're a lost cause.
Yes. Yes. The lost of all lost causes.
Hey, chat,
No,
defend me here. My entire crew is turning against me. Come on.
I
Nah,
don't, I
man,
don't
Metal
think the
Gear's one of
chat
Bad
those
can
part
help
games.
you out.
the bad part about it is I own them. I just don't play
That's the
Uh,
worst point.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, Jeff Grubb is being Jeff Grubb. He has a knack of being wrong, so obviously he's going to be wrong here too. I'm kind of doubtful. I mean, I don't know what the size is of Kojima Studio, but I doubt it, it's able to stretch itself so thin that it can handle two AAA titles at the same time. So I sincerely doubt that they're working on anything beyond, Death Stranding 2, unless it's a very small game that, it's a passion project, as it were. But the thing is, with Kojima, everything's a passion project. It just happens to be AAA, game with movie stars and looks like a movie, a Hollywood movie. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think now that we know Death Stranding 2 is in the works, that's probably the only thing he's working on for the foreseeable future until that game drops.
okay, Morgan,
Yeah, I'm
what's your
agreeing with
thought
Weeb.
on this whole Jeff Grubb situation?
Because yeah, it's not like Konami. I'm not Konami, but Kojima Productions. It's not really that big of a studio. Like it's, I think the last time I heard it was like 200 something people. Maybe I don't know. But the thought of them working on two projects at the same time is kind of mind boggling. Even though I think, according to Jeff Grubb, it's supposed to be Xbox's game is supposed to be some kind of episodic thing. So it would, I guess, be smaller scale than Death Stranding. But honestly, the way, if you just follow interviews and tweets that Jeff Grubb has been saying ever since he's claimed that there's going to be a Kojima game for Xbox, it seems like every time there's more news that goes against that, like he kind of just steers like into a different direction, trying to make it seem like, oh well, this is happening because of this, but it's still going on. Like it just seems like he's just trying to scramble to defend his position. It seems with every day that passes that there's not really an Xbox game, and I'm sure if it comes down to it and we figure out that there's not, he's gonna have some kind of defense for it, like, oh well, there was one, but it got canceled at the last minute because they did some kind of deal with Sony, or he's gonna scramble and try to damage
Hmm.
control it and make an excuse, but it'll be funny. Like I feel like June's gonna be the month. Like Pharaoh said, it probably won't be at the main Xbox showcase, but more of the probably not Jeff Grubbs, but Jeff Keighley's showcase. That we'll find out if there is actually an Xbox Kojima game, but I doubt it. It'll be funny
Mm-hmm.
to see though.
Gotcha. Rec?
Ah. Jeff Grubb is a fool. You don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, nah, ain't nothing gonna happen. They're gonna work on one game. They're asking for more people to join or whatever, sign up to be with Kojima Productions. But I don't think it's gonna be two games. It'll be one. It'll be one. It's gonna be one big game. That's what it's gonna be. That's it.
So the latest news, according to these fools, are that what's his name? Shu Yoshida hates Kojima, apparently.
Yeah, I saw that.
Apparently, and they're trying to make believe that PlayStation doesn't own the IP for Death Stranding.
I mean, even if they don't get along, I mean, Yoshida he does indie games now, so it wouldn't even make a difference whether they got along or
Shu
not. They don't have to deal
Yoshida,
with each other. Yeah.
which is again shows you how much they know about the industry. This is why I think he's full of shit. Him and the other person talking. Which is again boggle my mind that someone like Jabari and Persona, shout out to both of them, even interact with this dude. It's like you've been more wrong than right, and hey, I don't know why they. I will leave it at them. They know what they're doing. Shout out to them. What's up doing this thing? Ghost, I'm about to fill you in now on what happened, what you missed this week.
All right.
Okay, you are a smart dude. I mean, you're a CFO, so you need to. What does the word gamer mean?
Uh, that means that if I watch games, then I am a gamer. Okay, and if I read about games, I am a gamer. Fuck out of here! Like, um, it's laughable, man. I mean, it's just
You seen it?
it's laughable. It's that I did see. I was waiting at the airport outside of Warsaw, and yeah, that's just hilarious, man.
You know what the
Um,
crazy part is? It's Xbox Community Manager or something like that is saying it. No, it's no longer about what's called influencers. These are literally on the Xbox team saying that, and even the what's called the official Twitter account for Xbox defended that shit. What we're
I
doing here?
mean, that's just oh man. I guess when you're just getting when you're getting stomped and you're on a 2 week roll of just L after L, and bad PR, and just online mistakes and mishaps, man. I guess that's just what you got to do. But it's just gaming is the only, I guess, medium that I guess the word gamer can be misconstrued or warped into something that it's not. Like, you can't do it in sports. You can't do it in politics. You can't do it in no other field. I mean, I guess if I watch, a couple of seasons of ER, I'm a doctor. It's just ass backward, man. And so all what I didn't like was how people like white knighted and felt like Thrash, came after her personally, and then of
No,
course
no, 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 no.
everyone's,
This is a different lady now you're talking about.
no, this that what was that
So there are
her
so
last name is like Diamond. What's her last name?
so there are two ladies. The first one, her name is Dahyana, and she is the one that defended Phil Spencer. Said she is
Right,
only
I saw that one, but then there was
he
another
is
lady.
only human. The one I'm talking about, and my issue with her is she lied on air. She said that she played Quake for hours, but when you look at her playtime, she only played it for 30 minutes. She got exposed. That's my
Right,
issue. The second lady I'm talking about, she actually works at Xbox. That's a different lady. And she came out in defense of Dahyana because Dahyana said, I don't even like Xbox. I don't even play games. Well, basically, she insinuated that her what's called game score is low because she is more involved in the community and she watches her partner play video games. So why did you lie about that on air? And at the same time, then you're not a gamer. And that's what the conversation was about. And that's when the second lady, which is basically a community manager at Xbox, I don't know her exact title, but she is at Xbox, and she came out
She's a
and said,
PR. She's the PR for manager for Xbox.
thank you. If you watch games, you're a gamer. If you talk about games, you're a gamer. And
yeah, it's
it
bananas. It's
and what
bananas. Like
happened?
check this out.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was on YouTube last week, I guess, or when this happened, and I said something as a response to maybe one of Thrash's in his comment section, and this one individual, Xbox Defense Force, and said that people were harassing this girl, and I simply responded. I said, "How is harassing a female gamer by exposing these people as frauds? How is it harassing? If I tell you I have or do something that is clearly lying about, that I'm clearly lying about, and I get exposed." I'm glad to know that you will come to my defense in me getting caught up in my lies. Like, that's the issue I take is like she got caught lying, and instead of addressing that, then people came to her defense. I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Like we live in bizarro fucking land. We're in Stranger Things right now. This is the upside down. It's
Hey,
fucking crazy.
Nate, what's your thought?
Shit on both of them, or just the Xbox person?
Both. We didn't cover her last week, so
Oh
go
no,
ahead.
we definitely did not. But I mean, clearly, I went back and forth on with that on Twitter for a hot minute. Um, the Xbox PR person number, she's absolutely unequivocally 100% USDA choice full of shit because like I'm sorry, you can't change the definition of a word. Period. I tweeted that actually last year for the record, where I said gamers are the only community, or gaming is the only community where people believe that the way they feel changes the definition of a word. And I was like, that is not how that works. Like, period. Like, just like I'm driving a vehicle currently. If I've never driven a vehicle, I'm not a driver. Period. To drive is a thing that you do. To game is a thing that you do. Period. You can't not do that thing and be that thing. Period. I can't be like, yo, I've got years and years of experience in PR. What have you done? Absolutely fucking nothing. Like, that makes no sense. Like, oh my god, this shit gives me a fucking headache. But but these are the people again that are working for these companies, and then they're like, "What's your concern?" It's like, no, my concern is people like you who obviously don't know what the fucking gamer is working for a gaming company. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, she's in the right spot because PR often doesn't know the first damn thing about whatever they're promoting. That's why they often have all these disconnects between the game versus the PR. So yeah, she's absolutely in the right division for that because she
Yeah,
has no
the
effect on the actual game.
the
Um,
bullshit lion spinning division. She's in the right
exactly.
damn place.
She's in
Um,
the right.
Nate, what's your thoughts on her saying Phil Spencer is only human and using COVID as an
Um,
excuse?
I mean, everybody's fucking human, but I mean, number one, Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer. Nobody was just criticizing this man for one. So she's incorrect. She doesn't know what she's talking about. For one, this motherfucker didn't get there yesterday. For two, it's been like 5 years in this division with multiple other companies, releasing stuff in the same time frame. They had other developers in that time frame that they didn't just purchase. So, like, all the it's just excuses. Like, he's only human. So the fuck is everybody else? You know what I'm saying? That's giving us games currently, delivering currently, games that we're playing and games that are still going to launch before that game even comes out. So no, that's not a fucking excuse. I'm sick of the bullshit. But she wouldn't fucking know anyway because she don't fucking play the games. So it's like number one, stay in your lane. If you don't want to, get called the fuck out for all your lying, and shit that you got caught up in, and your fake ass profile, with your, headset on and, you holding your controller, and all this other shit that you're apparently not doing for the record. But it's okay though, because I'm a philanthropist and stuff, and I love people, so you should forgive all my lies and transgressions. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Morgan,
Um, yeah, it's a mess, but I'm good.
Morgan,
Well, I mean, according to Miss Dale's Geek, my neighbor's cat who comes on my balcony and watches me play games is, I guess, that cat's a gamer because it doesn't require actually playing games. So I have to tell my neighbor that their cat's a gamer. But it's wild. Like I don't know, every day the check marks, the check mark brigade just proves to me less, more and more that they're not really out here to game. They're just out here for the publicity because gaming is a trendy thing now. It's big. It's where you can move up fast in the ranks, and they take advantage of it. It's like, yeah, that he's only human bullshit. Like, look, if I go to my boss, if I don't meet a deadline, if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, and I hit the person who's in charge of me, well, look, I'm only human. My ass is fired. Okay, that's not a valid excuse. Okay, like they're gonna look at me like I'm stupid, and like I'm gonna get cussed out, all kinds of stuff. Like it's not an excuse. I don't want to hear that he's only human bullshit. Like, and they say he's been at that job for 5 years. Like, how long are we gonna sit here and have all these check marks, put a whole like defense force around Phil Spencer, like he just needs to be protected at all costs. Like, he leave him alone, just leave him alone. Like, why are y'all so like adamant on protecting this man? Like, what does he do for y'all? But I know
they
they do
worship
because they
him.
they wanna keep in Xbox and Phil Spencer's high graces because that's how you keep these sponsorships. You keep getting all these free things from Xbox. You get all the badges and tokens that you can get to put on your profile and stuff. You keep that toxic positivity that I fucking hate so much. You stay doing that bullshit, and you can stay in Xbox's good graces. You can stay. You can get promoted, and Paris' situation where he gets to host Xbox events and shit because he's so pro, and so like we can't be negative, guys. Like, come on, like be nice. Let games are coming. Why are you complaining? Like, first of all, one thing you don't tell a consumer is that they don't have a right to complain. And her reasoning as to, oh well, you can't do the job, so you shouldn't complain, is the stupidest shit that I have ever heard in my life. Like, so you're saying I spend my hard earned money on a product or a service, and I have no right to complain about that said product that I spend my money on because I can't make it or do it like that. That's the shit. That was the one line that really pissed me off. The other ones were really stupid, but that's the one that pissed me off. Like, you're really telling people that they have no right to complain against $1 trillion company or a man because they can't do that job. I don't know what made her type that shit. I don't know if she bumped her head that morning and she felt the need to write that, but that was some wild shit. That was wild. Um, and then with old girl trying to change the definition of what a game, like Nate said, like it's been a problem in the gaming community because they do it with gatekeeping. They'll do, like, the definition of gatekeeping is inflated. It's completely, they use it completely wrong because it's sad. Like, the game community is becoming just so, I don't even know what the word is. It's getting to a point where I don't even want to be associated with the gaming community anymore because all these fucking posers are coming in here and just doing the fucking most, and it's pissing me off. And then they gonna have the nerve to say that they're gonna start blocking people because we have to what would they like? We have to get rid of these kind of people, these toxic people out of the gaming
Tony
community.
Polanco,
Yeah,
a purge
No,
is
fucking
needed.
wild.
Stein,
They're the ones
the
being the most
community
toxic.
manager for Xbox, is the
It's
one that said that.
yeah, like I was like, it's y'all though.
Oh
Y'all
yeah,
are
yeah,
out here
yeah. This
lying.
dude was almost like on almost like a crusade or something like that. Starve them, make them
Hmm.
feel it or whatsoever. Like, I
Oh, that man was
swear,
mad. He was mad. I was
it
like,
was
oh,
mad, mad,
where's what
mad.
happened to the positivity? Why are you so mad? I just, I can't. Like, I'm just over it. They're gonna do something next week. I'm not like, I'm sure it's gonna be something else next week that they're gonna crazy that they're gonna say. It just gets worse. It gets worse by the day.
Mm.
But I had to say.
So real quick, so my company is in the works right now of providing MDSs to Ukraine. So if my company was to fuck this up, I hope that people come to my defense, be like, well, he's only human, what I mean,
Right.
and he's human. Cut him some slack, guys. That's what kills me. Is like, if you run a company and if you are in charge of company, like, the buck stops with you. Like, and if you make certain choices that affect the outcome of your company, you should get that fallback. I mean, you should get that
Mhm.
flack from the consumer base, right? And that's what just kills me, is like, it is so ingrained within that community to, like, protect the brand, no matter what their shortcomings are, or whatever, what their failures are. It's just, it's cultish, and and like Morgan said, that's one of the reasons why I just popped off Twitter, just A, because I couldn't I can't be exposed like that, but B, it's just because it as a damn near 50-year-old man, I was like, holy I'm in the wrong place. I'm not built for this. Like, this is craziness. Like, a lot of people are looking for, a lot of these checkmark dudes are looking for jobs. And so they are,
Yep.
like, they are looking for jobs. That's what it boils down to. Somehow, some way, they are trying to get into the good graces and using Twitter or the social media platforms
Yep.
as a gateway into getting jobs at these companies. And so they will
That
do tap and say whatever they need to say to accomplish that.
And to hop off what
Yeah.
Ghost said, it's like I find it funny that they have absolutely no problem giving all praises and props to Phil when something positive happens with Xbox. Oh, it's because of Phil Spencer. He did it. This is all. Yeah, Phil's so great. But then as soon as something negative happens, they don't want anything associated with Phil. That's not Phil's fault. There's more
Yep.
moving pieces than just Phil. It's A, B, C, and D. Why are you giving that to Phil? Phil's not to blame. He's just one man. But it's like, okay, he's one man, but you gave him props when he did when Xbox did this though. I don't understand. So we can give him praise, but we can't. Okay, that's cool. Fine.
Well,
All right.
let's give Pharaoh room to explain us. Go ahead, Pharaoh. You here? Oh, maybe he's off because his what called it's good.
No, my bad.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's the Phil Spencer thing? I get the gamer thing. I don't know
So
the
she
Phil Spencer
came. So,
thing.
so, so, so a non-gamer came in defense of Phil Spencer for because of Starfield delay, the lack of first-party title on Xbox front, and she said that he's only human. Defense. She said that. Do you know how to run a $1 trillion company? So in other words, cut him some slack because of that. And the third excuse was COVID.
I mean, but games been delayed all across the board. Like, you can't tell me outside of what, like, even if you go look at Sony, you can't tell me outside of what Spider-Man, Miles Morales, everything has been
No, no.
delayed.
Hold on. Hold on. You missing it. It's the whole thing that's the problem.
Yeah, but
It's
I'm just
not
saying, like,
just
I don't get
it's
the
not
delay
just the
thing
games
though.
being. It's not the delay though. The
It's not
delay is
about the
not
Okay.
delay.
the reason it's a problem. People are saying is because there are other. So there's no other titles currently slated. You see what I'm saying? It's
That
not
we
the
know about,
delay.
but
Games do get delay.
we didn't know about.
No, no, no. Yeah, everybody's basing it
Uh,
on what they know right now.
We're
Obviously, they
talking
yeah,
have
I
an
about
think that's
event
right
just.
coming
now,
up or
yeah.
whatever,
Yeah,
but
I
where
think people
everybody's
are
talking
jumping the
about
gun
right
on
now.
that because like we didn't know
Well, people
Forza
are always
Horizon
jumping
5
the
was
gun
coming out
because
this
we can only
year.
go on the
Yeah,
information.
yeah, we're very reactionary. But I say, but no one knew Forza Horizon was coming out this year. They didn't announce that it was coming out until their event. So I
That's
mean, like,
that's why this is just about the conversation about so far right now. If
yeah,
Yeah, we're talking
they
the years that
announce
he's
yeah,
been
and
in the
it's
something,
position and what they've released currently versus what's their announced first party lineup as it stands, and then the two games that were slated to come are delayed.
I don't put much weight into it. Like after the event, if they don't have anything slated to come out this holiday season, that's first party. Then I'll have some criticisms. But right now, I'm just like I'm indifferent on that part of it, and like the whole gamer thing. I agree with you guys. If you're not playing, you're not a gamer. But I get I understand the position that Xbox took because they want gaming to be inclusive. They want as many people involved and to be a part of it as possible. So I get why they did it. But yeah, I agree with y'all 100% in the sense of like, yeah, if you're not playing, you're not a gamer. Like you're just a person who enjoys watching, or you might support gamers, or you might support games in different ways, but you're not an actual gamer. Like like I could be a car enthusiast and I could buy Ferrari shirts, but I don't own a Ferrari, but I support Ferrari because I buy their shirts and their coffee mugs and things like that. It's like kind of like that to me.
Well, not, but like they said, we're not saying you can't be a part of it. We're saying you're not a
Yeah,
gamer, which is
yeah,
the idea that this
and I
person
agree with
was
you.
perpetuating. That I'm a
Yeah,
gamer. Their entire profile says I'm a gamer. They're promoting themselves playing a game and then turning around and not playing.
oh yeah,
That's the yeah,
she got everything she deserved. But I'm just saying
yeah.
I understand the position that big
hold up.
Xbox
If
took
she
of like,
got,
oh no, we're gonna be inclusive and be like, oh no, they're still a part of us. I get that
but
Well, she, I
part.
mean, she got to choose
And
what words
my
are
I think that
important
question
she
is,
got
though. She's got to choose
I
her
think she got
words
everything that was
carefully.
coming to her. If anything, Xbox should have just not said anything at all. But if they're gonna say
Exactly. They should have
something,
just shut the fuck up.
yeah, if anything, they shouldn't have said anything at all. But if you're gonna say something, you gotta kind of take, the side of, hey, they're still part of our community. They're a brand ambassador. They do a lot for us. You know, so it's either you don't say nothing or you say what you said.
But like you said, if you got a job, you know what I'm saying, and that's what you do, that's cool. I don't have a problem with somebody being a community manager or something, or this, that, and the third, or all these
Yeah,
other
because
things, right?
you
But
don't
if
have to
that's
be a
your
gamer to
job,
be
that's
a
fine.
community manager. Yeah,
No, you don't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
There's
But
many
that's
roles
what I'm
like
in the
saying. Like,
gaming community that don't involve you having to be a gamer. But the problem is she didn't stay in her lane. She came into the gamers lane when she should have stayed in the
yeah,
gaming community
exactly.
lane.
like she just over there on Twitter watching us interact, and she's like, I really want to be a part of this. She
And
want to
that
feel
and
part of
that's
the
the
She
crew.
said,
problem.
"This is my time to shine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Let me
she
get it."
she ain't see what happened to Paul Tassi and some other high profile people. She ain't see
Hmm.
none of that though.
Look, she got exactly what she wanted. Okay, she got the interaction that she wanted. Just not maybe the positive one, but hey,
Yeah,
she got what she asked for.
maybe she's trying to get her
Action
followers up. I don't
reaction.
know.
Action
And she said,
reaction.
"Look, that Xbox check just came through. I got to do my job. Hold on, let me get in my defense on Phil shirt on real quick."
Yeah.
Farrah, you brought up like Ferrari, for example. Like Ferrari is very like to be in any of their communities and be in any of like in their in that culture. Like you can wear the t-shirts, you can have the pins and all that. Like, but like it 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 is very a very it's not inclusive. Like it's very secluded
Yeah, it's a
community
select
that
group. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
It's
Ferrari
a
don't
gaming
play.
needs to
so
be that way.
I mean,
Okay.
Hmm.
what I'm saying is, if you're going to speak on those things like she did, like Morgan and everyone else said, she should have stayed in her lane and talked about maybe the things that she does within
I
the
literally
community. But
said that and on
yeah,
other streams. Like, why did you not stay in your lane? Why did you
Yeah, she
think
could have
by
been like,
coming?
this game looks good, it does
Hmm.
all this and all that, but she could just stay away from the fact that she don't really play them. Like she could
Yeah.
talk about them. Like I could
Of
talk
course,
about
you're not
how
upset.
I
You don't
love
play them.
Ferrari Red, but I'm not going to talk about how a Ferrari handles, because I never drove one. Not
Exactly.
like that,
exactly.
I
So
mean,
that's a really good analogy, just because, especially like you have to fill out like people think that you just go buy a Ferrari, and you really don't. There's a whole application that you have to fill out to even get
you know
one,
all about that, eh?
yeah, I do. But it is what it is. It just just because I just got finished dealing with that dude, and I I damn near give this motherfucker back because you ain't making no YouTube videos about their cars without their permission,
Oh yeah.
nothing.
You
yeah.
can't paint
It's
you can't
Damn.
paint them a
it,
certain way.
yeah.
You can't. Yeah, there's a bunch of stipulations. Which,
And
like I said,
you just can't.
that's funny. That became public about them when the Enzo came out because the Enzo was one of their really exclusive vehicles, and it was like
Mm,
you needed to own 3 prior Ferraris. They needed to be in this such and such condition.
Oh
Did you
wow.
sell them? Did you not? Did you like Ferrari?
Yeah.
Don't play, bruh.
Yeah,
they
you
don't.
can't just
Hmm.
you just can't pull that bad boy up the Jiffy Lube either. You got to take it. Yeah,
No,
Thank
I had to give like I had to give 6 different references. I mean, it was really
you.
ridiculous. Like
Damn.
yeah,
And
they don't
hey,
I'll
play.
make
They don't play.
yeah,
okay,
it's
It's
You
wild.
not
have references to get the car? Shit.
we, but
it's like that with
yeah,
a lot of high end cars. Like they don't
we,
want anybody because a lot of their stuff is proprietary too. Like they don't want it just in anybody's hand.
That's
mm-hmm,
true. Yeah.
gotcha. We, what your thoughts?
I don't own a Ferrari.
Good morning, Weeb. Oh my god, that's funny. Now real talk
Um,
though. What's your thoughts?
yeah, I mean, you've seen me trolling on Twitter. I mean, these people are clowns. You know, you're. I mean, you're not. If you don't play games, you're not a gamer. And like Nate said, you can't change definitions of words when it suits you. I mean, that's the reason why we have definitions. So you can't just make shit up. So yeah, I mean, they're both clowns. The ambassador, Xbox ambassador, doesn't play games, and the Xbox marketing manager who thought it was a good idea to redefine the word gamer. I mean, it kind of fits if you don't have any games, but all jokes aside, I mean, these people really just need to shut the fuck up and let the gamers do the talking, right?
I
That is
wholeheartedly
weird to me
agree.
though. Like, why are you an Xbox ambassador if you don't play games? Like, that's something that you actually volunteer for. Like, you're not getting paid to do.
No,
Like, you
no, no,
actually
no. Apparently, ambassadors get money, a lot of money.
Oh
Uh,
shit!
no
Where my
ambassadors
check
don't
at?
get.
Hold up.
if you're
I
in,
don't think
if
ambassadors get money. You just go to a
no,
website and apply.
if
Yeah, I definitely
you're
went to the website and
if you're
applied.
in the higher up, you get between $200 to $500. I
Oh
read.
shit! Let me get in the ranks then. Hold up.
But apparently, not to mention that she had more than 10 controllers. How much does a controller cost? Which controller are they sending her,
I
mind you?
mean, free merch is like
No,
that's part of the
free
deal.
mensch is money though, especially when you're lying to
It's
your
not.
audience. When you say,
It's not.
like,
I don't consider that. I don't consider like if I can't spend it, if I can sell it, whatever. But if I can't spend it, then it ain't money to me. Like you can,
So,
unless you give
so
me
you
like
can't,
unless you give me
so
something
you
that's
can't
like
sell
really
but
worth
controllers?
by
something.
definition, why do you think the FTC is not doing their thing, which is the next topic? By definition, if you're getting stuff from a company, you're basically sponsored by such company. That's basically
Yeah.
payment, whether it's money, whether it's in merchandise. Am I wrong here, Nate? We go ahead. Anyone? I'm curious. By
No,
definition.
So,
you're
I
being
mean that's how
endorsed.
brand deals work, though.
Sorry? Repeat that?
That's how brand deals work, though. Like when
Yeah.
you're on Twitch and stuff like that, what that kind of stuff does for you as an actual gamer, for the record, it removes your overhead. You know what I'm saying? Like we always talk about how companies operate. Well, if you're a streamer and you're now sponsored by Razer, they send you a PC, 3 monitors, the latest gear. You no longer have that overhead. So that 3 to 5 grand you used to spend on your setup, that's now removed.
That's a bit different than a $60 controller to me.
We
You just
don't,
send me a
dude.
controller.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's
$60
what I'm saying. That's
controller
just one
times
thing.
10.
If you're sending me actual Xboxes and
Do we
like
do
you're
we
sending me
know they
like 15,
didn't?
20, 30 games a year, I'm not saying we don't. I'm just saying
Do we
to
know
me
they
it's just a
didn't?
controller,
Cause
but we don't know that they did either. I'm not gonna accuse them of something that they did unless I know they did it. So I mean, I'm just
Right.
like, yeah, I'm just like publicly what they say is ambassadors don't get paid, so I'm sticking with that until something comes out otherwise. When an ambassador says I get 15 free games a year, I mean, if anything, I think you might get three free months of Game Pass or something like that. But I don't know.
I think there's like some rewards, but I
no,
don't
no.
I don't know if there's
Some.
money.
Go ahead, Morgan.
No, I was because I remember I was reading the contract or whatever. I think there's like some rewards you may get, like maybe points or something, but I don't know if there's money involved. But I'll have to
Yeah, I
Um,
find out.
mean, I
someone
don't
like
think these companies. I just don't think these companies are just that generous that you volunteer for their program and we're going to give you money type thing. Like like
no.
if you have a large
I said if
following
you're
and we
higher
want you to
up.
represent our brand.
I said
Yeah, if
if
you have a
you're
large
higher up,
if
not
yeah, if you have a
just.
large following and we want you to represent our brand, so like, hey, you get about 100,000 views a week. I see here. You mind wearing this Xbox T-shirt? I
Like
mean,
look
I
like
can I
at
can see
someone
that.
like what's his name, Paris. Paris
Yeah, but it
got
makes sense to give him stuff. I don't know if I don't even know if he's an ambassador, but I'm saying it makes
he's
sense
absolutely
for
an
them to
No,
give him
ambassador,
stuff.
it's
and
Paris.
he
I
gets
don't even know.
unlimited Game Pass.
Yeah, but that's not a benefit of being an ambassador. That's a benefit of his platform that he's built. You get what I'm saying?
No, but the difference is with Paris, he criticized PlayStation for one thing and then congratulate Microsoft and the exact same thing. He is
Yeah,
not.
I mean, I don't pay attention to any of that, but I'm just saying I
I
understand that
do.
it makes sense for them to give him stuff. I
Yeah, I
mean, it
think it's
makes
just yeah,
sense for
like Pharaoh said. I think it's just because of he's popular in his platform. That's why
yeah.
Xbox gives him the things they do. It's not because he's an ambassador. It's
Don't be
just
don't be nice. It's corporate TikToker. End of story. Don't be nice about it. I'm not nice. No, I said it on
Oh, I
Luca.
mean, you're right. You're right. He does damage
I
control
said
the
it on
phone for
Luca.
Xbox.
The art of deep throating is very good for him when it comes to corporate. I'm not.
Professional.
I'm not
I mean,
bullshit.
if PlayStation was giving other out people free stuff, I'm sure they would be this. They would be the exact same
And
way.
I will
I
call them
mean,
out
Oh yeah.
if they're not what's called fair. I'm calling them out. I don't care about Microsoft gave them free stuff. That's not the issue. The issue is
well, it's
him
not.
not being consistent. That's the issue.
Nothing is free. If he has some type of brand deal with Xbox, that comes with some things in writing. Like none of that. Like they're not just going, hey, we're gonna give you 50 free games a year. We're gonna give you, whenever the new Xbox comes out, the Halo Edition, you got it. Like that doesn't just come with just like,
Yeah,
without with.
you gotta promote. You gotta do videos. You gotta do all this.
Yeah,
There's work
that comes
involved
through a
with it.
signed agreement, and that signed agreement has stipulations in it of things that you can and can't say. It's not just
Yeah,
hey, we're
cause
just gonna send you
the
free stuff because we like you.
one of the what's called blue check mark what's her name ambassador a few months ago, she left the ambassador program because she just wanted to speak her mind. She is not allowed to be negative when it comes to Xbox
Yeah, I mean
because
that's fair. Like if you don't want to be a part of it anymore because it's not worth it for you anymore, leave. Yeah, it makes sense.
the final topic the FTC and hey, can you break it down or do I need to break it down?
And Nate left.
Hey,
Asleep?
oh,
Oh shit, weeb. Sorry, you.
But me.
yeah,
Wait, I thought we good. Oh no, the wreck. Fuck. Oh my god, fuck me. I forgot. Oh man, I took my. Go ahead, Zarek.
I told that woman something that day. I was like, "Ma'am, am I a quarterback? If I watch football, like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, that woman is really stupid. So for her to put a comment on something like that, and so I don't care about Phil Spencer. That dude is always a liar and always will be a liar. Because I don't see no changes in his Xbox stuff, bro. All I see is a downfall. But anyway, all this ambassador stuff is worthless. I'll be real. That stuff is so worthless, bro. I was like, bro, what's the point of being an ambassador if you can't say nothing negative about it to improve? So my thing is,
You hit my point.
they need to get rid of that. I'm sorry, but they need to get rid of all that stuff because now they don't want nobody criticizing their work. They expect people to be puppets for them, and so we're not gonna be puppets for no company. We ain't gonna be no slave either. So they need to get rid of all that stuff and focus on that gaming and stop worrying about all these extra items like the ice box or fingernails and stuff. They need to start focusing on their games and then the studios and start putting out quality stuff. I'm sick and tired of that. That's why I didn't buy an Xbox. I didn't buy an Xbox because they're worthless for my money.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to change, bruh. That's what it's all about. And
Hey,
so if there's no change, we're going down a gaming slope right now. We'll be going through a gaming slope, and
the
they will be out of
consumers,
the picture.
the
They'll be out
consumers
of
loved it. So what can I say? He's only human. Innate.
they only human.
Innate. Can you break down the whole FTC cracking down
Nate
on?
is not here, Karam.
Oh shit, he's not here. Okay. We
Still not here
otherwise
now.
I need to read it.
But by the way, apparently according to Glassdoor, the typical Xbox brand ambassador salary is 34K a year,
Let me get my points up.
and can range between 17K and
Thank you.
233,000 and
Yeah.
240,000.
God. All right.
So
I saw someone put out the tweet. Yeah. Like, now, Farah, what's your thoughts on that front?
I'm about to raise my shit to level 5. Hold up. I need to get paid.
um, Weeb, do you have it in you to break down the whole FTT?
Um, well, there's a lot in there, so I can't do it on top of my head. But they apparently are looking
Or do
into.
you wanna skip? Do you wanna postpone it to next week and we break it down better?
That's fine too. But just in a nutshell, they're just gonna look into the influencers outside of YouTube. I think there's already some regulation there, but also in other social media, and not just the influencers themselves that not always disclose that they're being sponsored by the company, particularly Microsoft, but other companies as well. But also into these companies that are um, essentially in purposely trying to sort of hide the fact that they're essentially paying or sponsoring these people and trying to influence them in a sort of dishonest way. So things could shake up there in the foreseeable future. And I mean, to be fair, it does seem like Microsoft is particularly aggressive in that area with with their Xbox Ambassador program and all the
Hmm?
sponsorships they have. So, and they have had a history with where they didn't disclose sponsorship deals like
Machima, eh?
this.
Machinima.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
So
remember.
I'm curious what's coming out of that. Yeah.
Gotcha. Ghost, what's your thoughts on this one? Oh,
I'm not.
sorry?
I'm in the whole. Yeah, I'm not in the whole agreement of like, um, the FTC and just more oversight. I mean, the thing is, there'll always be a way to circumvent that, and I guess I don't. I'm kind of indifferent. I mean, because they'll find another way, and I just think that maybe the Xbox Ambassador program is just one way of, by not, I guess, monetarily paying these people, or whether it be PlayStation or Sony or any of these other companies do that. I know that, like back in the day, they got in trouble for that, or not Microsoft, but the Machinima or whomever, they got in trouble for that. But I mean, these companies need to be a little bit more transparent with their outside influencing and marketing. And I don't know. I don't know what the FCC can actually do, and so
Mm,
we'll just have to wait and see.
interesting. Morgan.
Yeah, it's interesting. Honestly, yeah, ghosts. Like, I don't know what they can actually do. I don't know if they're actually are going to do anything, or if this is just all like political talk, just to show that, or just to say that they're actually doing something, and they're not actually going to. Um, I mean, I think it's a good idea because there are a lot of people like, as we've seen these past couple of weeks and shoot these last few years, people using gaming to prop up their careers and their pockets, but not actually being gamers and lying about games and games they've played, and it's it's definitely a problem. But I don't know exactly how the FTC will be able to prove or crack down on these kind of things. But yeah, I hope it doesn't flow into people who actually are about games and about gaming, and it doesn't like inhibit them any kind of way, like them accidentally getting strikes when they are actually gaming. Yeah, so the question is, how far will they actually take it? That'll be interesting.
Gotcha. We.
See,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh, no, go ahead. I'll wait for turn.
Oh, you wanna go. Oh, yeah, you are first. Go ahead, Sarah.
I was gonna say, I mean, the only way I could think they could kind of like enforce this, because it's kind of like geared at like fake reviews and micro targeting certain people. Only thing I could think of is that like if you're like a paid reviewer or something like that with a platform, you have to have like a special account on your Xbox that you actually play the game in order to submit your review. And if you don't play it on that account, then you can't submit a review. That's the only thing I could think they could do. Like that's the only thing that would make sense to me. Otherwise, it's like it's damn near impossible. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, take them to court and like have someone play the game and argue your
Got your
opinion of the
gamer
game versus
score.
their opinion of the game? Like, yeah, like it's gonna be Twitter
Show us the
in
value.
actual court. Like yeah, I just that's the only thing. Like that it
Gotcha.
would literally be Twitter inside a court. Like people arguing about games and then next thing you know, their gamer score, you see them play it. Like
Mm-hmm. Weeb?
You asked me first already.
Rec?
The FTC. Oh well, we'll see what all this can come down to. I mean, they can't stop everybody, so but they can change some stuff. So if they can change a little bit, I can't think about it. Like it's a lot of stuff that's going on. I'm not sure.
I
force a
think
review account. That's the only thing I could think they could
I
do.
think someone like Colt is screwed.
Yeah,
He,
Why would Colt be screwed? He doesn't review
because
games.
because he met with the head of marketing at Xbox. That's why he's screwed. Because he worked for Xbox without disclosing that he worked for Xbox. You're not gonna tell me you're gonna have someone meet with the head for marketing if you're not part of Xbox. I'm sorry. I am
I
not a
mean,
C.
he
I am
he
not a C.
markets he markets Xbox on his own personal time, and he's very successful at it. Why wouldn't the head of Xbox marketing go meet with him? I would go meet with him if someone was so good at promoting my stuff that they made their own career out of it, like without being hired. I would go meet
Hold
with him.
up. How do you know without being hired?
Because he has a whole like YouTube channel,
Yes,
like.
so.
But I'm
Well,
saying he's made a career with he's made an entire career of promoting Xbox without having a job at Xbox.
how
That's
do
what I'm
you
saying.
know
Like
that?
his pay his YouTube provides enough for him that that's all he does.
Nah,
That's
well,
what I'm saying.
nah, I don't believe that for one simple reason. What's called? He always um defend Xbox no matter what. No matter what. He never one called them out on their bullshit.
I mean,
So
he's been actually anti this past week.
yes, that's why. That's why. I truly believe you are for Xbox. You're not telling me you're gonna meet with Aaron Greenberg and the marketing leader. Mm, Like, nah, dude. See, Aaron Greenberg is not gonna meet with any random person for that
But he's not
fuck
any
of it.
random person. He's Colt Eastwood. Like he has a large following. He does nothing but Xbox stuff. It's not he's not you or me. He's actually like he actually has a large enough following that someone at Xbox would pay attention to what he says in every single video that he puts out. Someone at Xbox higher up is watching his
Yeah.
videos. Every single
But
one of
I
them.
thought, Phil Spencer hates console war. Cause that's all called too,
That's what. Look,
console
I,
war.
listen.
you can hate console wars all you want, but with someone that big is talking about your platform on a daily, weekly basis, you have to pay attention to what they're saying
That man
about your
balls like
Ah,
platform.
Howard.
so Phil Spencer is a hypocrite. Gotcha.
It's
We,
not a
no,
hypocrite.
he
You got to be
absolutely,
aware of what
no,
is
he
being said about
absolutely,
your platform. The same thing is going on at PlayStation. You have to be aware of what the base is saying about you and what people if you have 200, 300 people, 300,000 people following them, you got to know what they're saying at all times, good, bad, or indifferent. Like you have to know. Like that's just I
show
don't care if
me,
you're T-Mobile, Sprint, if it doesn't matter what your company is. If people with large followings, like you don't think the NFL follows the Pat McAfee show? I know you don't even watch the NFL, but I'm just saying, giving you an example. Or the NFL they pay attention to people who talk about their stuff every day, who have large followings. If you get paid millions of dollars to talk about the NFL, whether you work for the NFL or not, they're going to pay attention to what you're saying about the NFL.
when you say, not you, you hate console war, then you're not gonna interact with a person that is console warish. You're gonna want to distance yourself from someone that is console warish.
Phil Spencer met with Colt Eastwood in a public manner. You just brought
Sorry?
up Aaron Greenberg. You said Xbox marketing. You didn't say Phil Spencer.
Dude, Phil Spencer is the head at Xbox.
Yeah, but that's not him doing it. That's one of his people doing it.
Oh my god.
There's ways to get around. Like this is stuff that companies do though. Like they don't like the CEO is never gonna get his hands dirty. Like like is that's gonna be the case anywhere. Like
Nah,
Xbox is
Phil,
very involved
So
with
so so
community
wait, so you
members.
guys are going in circles. So the only reason you guys are going in circles is because Omar's explaining it wrong. The reason
Yeah.
the only reason he could potentially get in trouble is that if in fact it is enforced to a finable degree, if he is therefore paid directly by them, and then once this goes into effect fails to disclose that, that is when he would be in trouble. That's the only reason he would be in trouble.
I needed to explain it better. Thank you. Cause I
Yeah.
thought about it, but I didn't explain it. Cause in my head it was plain simple. Because here's the thing, we've seen it with Microsoft doing it with Machinima, and this is not the first time. And
Well,
Microsoft is
yeah,
not,
and now Machinima would have to disclose. So anything that's sponsored directly by them, they would have to disclose as a sponsored video.
mind you, this
We're
is
That's what
not
starting to
just.
YouTube
see
does.
we're starting to see that on YouTube more and more, like with
Oh
all
no, no,
types of
you're not
content. Like just
starting. You're not starting. You have to, or they will
yeah, that's what
shut
I'm
your
saying.
channel
That's what I'm
down.
saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're seeing it now in
Well,
YouTube.
no, that's what I'm saying. It's not new though. That's been like that implemented like 5 years ago, because they were running into people like Ghost. What was his name? Ghost. What the heck is his name? Ghost something. But like every video he would do
Ghost
was like,
Robot?
oh yeah, that dude. He'd be like, oh my god. So I went out to Ubisoft this weekend. It was an amazing event. It was great. This game's going to be absolutely phenomenal. But like literally, it sounded like he would just replace the name of the company and the name of the game and just say every game was great. And then eventually they started being like, all right, look, you need to disclose any sponsorship flights, locations you were flown out. You need to specify that this game was given to you by the company. And then you also have to, there's a little like overlay on the video that says this is a sponsored video and stuff like that. All that shit has to be in there. That is a finable offense to shut your channel down. Not a copyright strike. They will shut you down because it was such a big problem where all these people were lying, and it was like they were getting these games for free. It's us versus the reviewers again, right? A lot of reviewers are super jaded. Why? Because they got 17 review codes in the mail and they got to review 9 of those games. So then they start bullshitting and they start cutting corners and they start now the question is, can you who is disclosing the information correctly? Because who did the assignment? You know what I'm saying? Did you read the whole book? Now, like think about doing a book report, right? And then you could pass the whole class, and your teacher goes, "What happened at the end of the book?" But you didn't read the last chapter, and that would be the difference in you failing or passing. Like this is the kind of shit they're doing, and this is why the FTC is starting to pay attention. Like there's just it's a bunch of ethics stuff, but they're having to start making it a finable offense because, well, a bunch of people like we've seen recently with Miss Diana are out here frauding, and they're getting caught. But now you got the check marks, trying to drown out the criticism, that's being brought to light, showing these people and exposing these people for the liars they are. But it needs to be punishable, and that's where the FTC is like, look, all right, this is the whole entire point of the FTC is to be for the consumer. So if these people are out here constantly lying or telling you this, this, that, and the third, or lying about the defects of a product, they need to make that a finable offense. That's where the trouble comes in for a lot of these people who are constantly lying. But yeah, if you're just covering it and you're not sponsored or whatever, and you're just doing a YouTube channel, yeah, you're perfectly fine. But if you collecting a check, you better disclose that shit before they find out.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for explaining it. I guess my lack of vocabulary made me not explain it well. Thank you genuinely for
But yeah,
explaining it.
about to head out, so I'll let
Yeah,
you guys later.
I'm actually closing out. Um, oh no, I need to think we have the rec, but yeah, go do your outro.
Yeah, just Innate or the real Innate on Twitter. Again, it's always fun. You guys keep it gaming, actual gaming, not this false bullshit that people are perpetuating as gaming. Have a good night.
Yeah, me and Innate, we crashed Salty Stream. We were on his guest last 2 days ago. Go ahead, check us out. Ghost, where people can find you.
Man, you can find me, of course, on YouTube at Ghost in the Garage Gaming, Sunday Conversation, and just come check me out, or hit me up on PSN and at Ghost in the Shell 55, and we'll play some games or watch them together.
You
And
doing one tomorrow?
yes, I will. I will be doing them one tomorrow.
So I can only assume we're gonna play Borderlands 3.
Yeah, fuck it. We can play Borderlands 3. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah. All right. So, matter of fact, it is downloaded front and center. Yeah, we'll play some Borderlands 3, and you can show me the ropes. And
it's
it's one
already
of
downloaded on
the
my
hundreds
end.
of games that I have that I don't play.
Maybe I can have Innate join us. We'll see. What time you wanna do it? Do you wanna do it 11 o'clock my time, or 5 o'clock, or 6 o'clock my time?
Let's do 6 o'clock your time. So what's that? No, let's do 4:30 my time.
4:30 your time.
That way you can wake up from your nap and everything.
So 11:30,
your
11:30 my.
nap time. What's up?
Yeah, that's perfect time for me. Yeah, it's not night time. It's medicine time. I hate you all. Where people can find you?
You can find me on Twitter as the Weep Sheriff, at Infinite Rhizome, and on YouTube as Blue Rhizome, and Other Nation.
And the Rec, where people can find you?
You can find me on Twitter. That's the Wreckage 89. Whatsoever. Y'all stay safe and be blessed, bro.
Thank you for coming. And for me, nah, I'm joking. Morgan, where people can find you?
Damn.
Nah, I didn't forget you. Don't worry about it.
You already know who it is. You know, it's your favorite Xbox ambassador, Morgan, aka
Hey,
trying
when you start
Xbox.
making the money, hey, support us. We need some support.
When I get level 5 and I start making that money, it's over. Right? Team Green.
You're leaving.
But yeah, shout out to my fellow panel members. Shout out to Pharaoh. Nice to talk to you. You know, hope you come next weekend and keep coming through. Shout out to Alex. It's always good to get a developer's perspective. Nice insight. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thanks for coming through, and see you guys next Saturday.
Thank you. And Pharaoh, where people can find you?
You can find me Facebook, Twitch, YouTube at Land of Pharaoh, Twitter at Pharaoh Bizarre, and Mondays on the Vitamin G podcast with this guy right here, who's the host.
8 p.m., right?
Yeah, 8 p.m. Monday, Standard Eastern Time.
Yeah.
Or Eastern Standard Time, whatever.
Too bad you couldn't make it. Great show, great conversation. People can find me at @Carab_Shihab on Twitter. And here, Anime Squad, 5 p.m. every Friday with this guy, Weeb, and Zero. Shout out to Zero. Hopefully, next week episode chapter of One Piece is legendary. And yeah, also you can find me at Vitamin G Podcast every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. With that being said, I'm gonna steal one from SC. We are here, keep it gaming. Later.
Peace.